Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the stream. This is interesting. Tonight, doing something a little different. We are streaming on both Twitch and YouTube. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We are going to be watching Monday Night Raw and all that good stuff. Tonight is the King and Queen of the Ring Raw final. So this is to determine who will be facing each other at King and Queen of the Ring event in Saudi Arabia. Tonight we have Gunther taking on Jey Uso to determine the Raw side of the King and Queen of the Ring match. And on the women's side, we have Lyra Valkyria taking on Io Sky. So that should be a lot of fun. I can't wait to get into it. I should probably open up my browser and open the show. Hello. Give me a second. Let me turn off the desktop just in case. Don't want to get in trouble. Of course. Okay. Okay. Gotta go there. I should have did this a little earlier, but I'm kind of, got kind of sidetracked setting everything up for the YouTube and whatnot, making sure it works. I originally I was contemplating just going over to YouTube altogether, trying my hand at YouTube. But I discovered the restream thing. Got to get the lights on to look cool. I discovered the restream thing, and I saw you could do it that way. So I said, screw it. We're going to do it that way, and we're going to have fun. So hopefully everything works out. Everything so far looks pretty cool. No complaints. Looks like the show's starting. So let's get into it. Time to watch Monday Night Raw.
Forever.
Hopefully you guys can hear everything. Everything is working for you.
Together.
Like I said, I'm watching, making sure that everything works correctly.
It's a high-stakes night tonight, live from Greensboro, North Carolina for Monday Night Raw. The arrival of main event Jey Uso earlier today. He finds himself...
Nice car driven by Io. Hope that's a rental.
Ahead of myself, Io Sky, Lyra Valkyria in the women's tournament semifinals for King and Queen of the Ring, the tournament here later on tonight. And there, of course, Lyra Valkyria. She's been the upstart, surprise so far of the tournament.
I like Lyra Valkyria. I think she's pretty cool.
In the semifinals here tonight to try to get to Jeddah come Saturday. There's Gunther, former Intercontinental Champion. He's in the semifinals of the King and Queen of the Ring tournament. Later on tonight, accompanied by Ludwig Kaiser, will take on that man.
Jey Uso. A lot of talk about Jey Uso.
Jey Uso and Gunther battle in the men's tournament semifinals later on tonight.
A lot of discussion about Jey Uso. Start the show off with Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn. So that's cool. He's got a triple threat match to defend the Intercontinental Championship in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia for King and Queen of the Ring. He'll be in a triple threat match against Bronson Reed and Chad Gable. So that's cool.
Well, Pat, there's the man who defeated Gunther, who had held the Intercontinental Championship for 666 days. Now things get tough for Sami Zayn as we head to the King and Queen of the Ring this coming Saturday in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. It is a special 1 o'clock start time on the East Coast, 10 o'clock on the West Coast, Sami Zayn defends in a triple threat match against Chad Gable and Big
That should be a really good
Bronson
match. I'm really looking forward to that match for sure.
Intercontinental title defense for Sami, and obviously triple threat. Sami doesn't even have to lose his title. It seems to be right where Sami's comfortable, though. Odds slightly stacked against him.
I think that's as good a way to kick it off as any. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Monday Night Raw! We are 5 days
Excuse me.
away
Had to
5
sneeze.
days away
Jesus.
from King and Queen of the Ring, live in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
Had to sneeze, boy.
I find myself in a triple threat match versus Bronson Reed and Chad Gable for my Intercontinental Championship. And it's funny, I was actually asked in an interview today, Sami, why would you put up your championship in a triple threat? Everybody knows the champion has a disadvantage. You don't even need to be pinned or submitted to lose your title.
Wow.
And I tried to explain it, and I'll try to explain it to you guys because I've got two very different issues on my hands, and I'd rather deal with them both at the same time. Because on the one hand, we have a very, very personal issue in the form of Chad Gable.
Yeah, the man suplexed you out of the arms of your wife.
Because Chad, you don't German suplex a man out of his wife's arms in his hometown in front of his 78-year-old father and expect nothing to happen to you. So make no mistake, Chad, you've got an ass kicking coming your way.
Uh-oh. Chad's in trouble.
Like that from the champion.
And the other issue is with Bronson Reed. Very different. It's not personal with Bronson Reed. He doesn't care about me, doesn't care about my family, doesn't care about Chad Gable. He only cares about one thing, and it's this right here.
That's not a problem.
This is what he wants.
That should be the case, right?
So the way I see it, this is a pretty interesting match. It's like a fight between the mind, the body, and the soul. The mind is Chad Gable, one of the most manipulative, crafty superstars of all time. The body is the strength, the unmatched brute force of Bronson Reed, and the soul is Sami Zayn.
All right.
And if I'm putting my money down on a fight between mind, body, and soul, I am betting on soul every single time. Because it is that soul, that heart, that passion, that is why I am holding this right now. That is why I was able to beat the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time
Got
at
my
WrestleMania.
tags all messed up.
And that is why at King and Queen of the
Twitch.
Ring this Saturday, I will walk
Yeah,
out
jerk.
still the Intercontinental Champion.
Hell yeah. I like Sami when he gets all fired up like this.
Here's one of his challengers.
When he gets all angry.
Hold on. Sami, did I hear you call me manipulative?
How about a jerk for the way he treats his
Me?
people?
Manipulative. I'm manipulative. Let me ask you this, Sami. Did I manipulate you into beating Gunther at WrestleMania?
He's got a
No.
he's got a
I
boxing
coached you,
robe on now.
Selflessly, I might add, into winning that championship. No, that's my problem. Everybody, I figured it out. I'm too damn nice.
Uh-oh. That's gonna lead him to be even more of a
I've
jerk.
been too nice to you, and I've been way too nice to these three clowns standing behind me.
See?
Ah,
That's nice.
come on.
example, Miss Maxine. Now, Saturday, you should be in Saudi Arabia competing for the championship in the finals of the Queen of the Ring, but you're not gonna be, are you? No, why is that? It's because you blew your opportunity. Failure.
Jesus.
And Tozawa.
He's just a bully.
Tozawa, you did exactly 0% of the damage I asked you to do against Bronson Reed last week. Failure. Which brings me to you, Otis. Last week,
Free Otis. The crowd's really getting into Otis. This is pretty cool.
last week against Sami Zayn, you proved once again, my friend, why, by far and away, you are the biggest disappointment on the planet.
Wow. What a jerk. What a jerk.
All right, that's enough of that. I think we've all heard just about enough out of you.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, I got a question.
What?
No. Question's not for you. Question's for the Alpha Academy. How much longer are you guys gonna deal with this guy's crap?
Hey, Sammy, you don't
Look at
talk to the
Tozawa
Academy,
standing there
I
like
talk
a
to my
soldier.
people. I see what you're doing.
It's
All right,
incredible.
You said it yourself, I'm the brains of this operation. You're trying to drive a wedge. Fortunately for me, they've already rededicated themselves to me and my journey to reestablish respect for the Alpha Academy. Oh, and let me just say, Sammy, I am sick and tired of listening to you talk about your heart and your soul. It's pathetic. In Saudi Arabia, I don't have to pin you to win that championship, but I'm gonna pin you. And I'm not just taking your title.
I'm sure that gets under his skin.
Greensboro's right.
I'm taking your soul.
It's a little weird. What is he, the Undertaker?
Well, that's all well and good. But last I checked, Saudi Arabia isn't for another 5 days. Last I checked, tonight we're in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Yeah, we are.
Greensboro Coliseum.
Last I checked, you and I are scheduled for one-on-one competition tonight. And I'm dressed and ready to go. It looks like you're dressed and ready to go. Let's do it right here, right now.
Well, here's one thing about Chad Gable. Maybe if he showed a little more heart, a little more soul, and more importantly, respect, maybe he'd be the Intercontinental Champion today, and he wouldn't be trying to take the title away from somebody like Sami Zayn.
Yeah, respect, empathy, composure. There's a lot of things that Chad Gable could show any time in his life as of late, and he just chose not to.
Yeah, maybe treat the people that he's been coaching in the Alpha Academy a bit better, too, and now we're underway. Gable and Sami Zayn,
All right,
of
so we
course,
got
is a very
collar and
personal
elbow
issue
tie
for
up.
Sami Zayn. He talked about Montreal a couple of months back, defending the championship against Chad Gable. Chad losing, of course, and then attacking Sami in front of his wife and his family. That was the night that Chad Gable lost it, decided to change
Sammy
the way he does things.
whips Chad Gable, hits him with a clothesline.
Sammy's life was taking place, and then, yeah, he showcased that he's pawn scum. He's a bum.
He's a bum.
You know, talking to Chad Gable a bit earlier on, he told me, Pat, and here's Sami Zayn now.
Or an elbow off the top.
He told me he feels disrespected. He's felt overlooked for a long time now. This coming weekend in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia will be his first match at a premium live event since WrestleMania 39, which was 14 months ago. Oh!
Wow.
Chad certainly has all the ability, the skill, the look, everything you would potentially want in a WWE superstar, but it hasn't worked.
Well,
and he
what are they
refuses to
doing?
look in the mirror.
Got this. They were helping you.
Oh, you temper tantrum throwing bum.
All right, so we're going into commercial break. Just to let you guys know really quickly, for anybody that's new here, that's watching for the first time or whatever, first of all, thank you. Thank you for spending your Monday evening with me watching some wrestling. I really, really appreciate it. I am one half of the hosting team for the Ringside Rundown podcast. I do the podcast with my friend Shay, and every Tuesday evening we record an episode that drops Wednesday morning in the early morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's different from a lot of other podcasts. We don't do recaps or anything like that. We basically allow the listener to dictate the format of the show, and we do that through questions, comments, opinions, rants. Basically, if you listen to the show, whether it be the first time or your long-time listener, you can send us in questions for the show to answer. And basically, the questions are pretty on topic for what's going on in the world of professional wrestling. And we have a great time doing it. We're about to record our 115th episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast. Obviously, it's going to be a big one with King and Queen of the Ring and AEW Double or Nothing being in the same weekend. So I know we're going to have a lot of questions about that. But if you have a question for the podcast and you would like to have your question answered on the podcast, all you got to do is head over to Twitter and hit that link right there for Twitter. That is the tweet that asks you guys to send in questions, comments, opinions, whatever you may have it about what's going on in wrestling, and we'll talk about it on the show. So all you got to do is go ahead and go to that Twitter link to check out the questions link so you can send it in and be a part of the show. If you would like to subscribe to the show, you can do so by heading over to this link. It is a Spotify link, but the podcast is available on a bunch of different platforms. As you can see on the bottom, available on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. I'm going to have to remove because it looks like later on this month, Google Podcast will be no more. So very interesting. No more Google Podcasts, so we'll definitely have to get rid of that logo on the bottom. But you can also check it out, obviously, on YouTube as well. Amazon Music, iHeartRadio has a podcast section. Where else? Audible. Basically, wherever you listen to podcasts, just search for the Ringside Rundown, and you can hit subscribe, follow, friend, whatever you need to do. Also, if you have some friends that are into wrestling and wrestling podcasts, send it their way too, because we can always use, obviously, more listeners, more people into the podcast having fun. So, yes, please, definitely let your friends know where to find us. We're available on social media as well. These links everywhere on social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, like I said, YouTube, TikTok, we're on there. There's also a link if you're feeling generous and want to support the podcast by sending us a little tip, even if it's like $1. I think the minimum is like $3. That'd be pretty dope. I'd enjoy that. I'd appreciate that. That'd be nice. Thank you very much. But back to the action. Chad Gable looks to be dominating and in control of the match, hitting Sammy with some cross forearms and a snap suplex.
Nice suplex by the former U.S. Olympian Chad Gable.
1 o'clock Eastern start time for that King and Queen of the Ring on Saturday, and the Intercontinental Championship's on the line.
Chad's going to the top. What has he got in mind? It's not really his forte. Goes for a headbutt, and there's nobody there.
For Chad Gable, he's never won a singles championship here in WWE. Former three-time
never won a singles championship. Chad Gable hasn't. That's very interesting.
Trained Sami Zayn, helped him knock off Gunther at WrestleMania.
Yeah, he did do a little bit of assisting, consulting, advising, but it was Sami Zayn's heart.
Nice misdirection from Sami. Hits him with a nice clothesline.
Those guts right now. Nice clothesline to Gable.
And Chad Gable tried to take credit for it, which is what he's been
Looks like
doing.
Sami was going for the Blue Thunder Bomb. Chad blocks it, but Sami holds on. Oh, goes for it again. Exploder suplex. Not bad, Chad Gable.
Here we go.
Very good stuff.
Chad Gable seemed to be a little bit beat up, as is Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn was part of the Netflix as a joke festival this past week. Old friend Johnny Knoxville showed up, but there's no joking about what's
going on here.
Faces. And wait a minute.
What's Maxine doing?
Don't do it, Maxine. Don't do it.
Chad Gable tried to basically
Well, she can't bring herself to do the long thing, and that's pull the trigger and slap Sammy.
Chad Gable over here trying to get Maxine to do his dirty work. Not happening. I really like Maxine's outfit. That's one of her strong suits. Is she makes all of her outfits. She makes all of her own gear. You know, that's a pretty cool skill to have in wrestling, to be able to make your own outfits and gear and stuff like that. Big boot to the face of Chad Gable, but he stopped Sammy's momentum with a cross chop to the throat.
If I had my team with me, I would like them to cheat for me if I was in the middle of a match with somebody I had a title championship on.
Yeah, but Maxine actually has some scruples.
I can respect that. Chad Gable obviously is...
Sammy's got Chad in the corner hitting him with some bombs. Stands over him on the second rope and starts pounding on the top of his head. At the count of 10, Chad escapes to the outside.
At least momentarily, because Sami Zayn now, and now look at Gable. That's classy. Now Gable takes advantage, using Maxine as a shield. Chad Gable.
Of course he uses Maxine as a shield.
Literally willing to do whatever right now.
He's a scumbag.
It's despicable, Cole.
Well, Pat, it's desperation. The man, as I mentioned,
Somebody was really funny on Twitter. I don't know if they were being serious, but they were like, they said, is Chad Gable as a heel being too annoying? That was an actual tweet. An actual tweet. They said, is Chad Gable being too annoying as a heel? I tell you, these people are on the internet, man. They just say shit like, bro, is Chad Gable too annoying as a heel? Wow, Chad Gable kicks out his own people. It'd be your own people, yo. Wait, where's Otis? Poor Tozawa, he doesn't deserve this. He's got a wife and kid at home, kids. You know, he's had a pretty good career before coming to WWE. Oh no, Sammy hits him with the Blue Thunder Bomb. Oh man, that would have been fantastic if it would have ended right there. It would have been fantastic.
So close for Sami Zayn. And Gable looking to regroup.
Gable hurting. Otis, help him. Well, no, don't help him, Otis. I really enjoy these in-ring, well, not that. The in-ring promo, like the replay, John, that they do, that's pretty cool. Didn't enjoy the Uncle Howdy QR code. I don't really scan for the QR codes like everybody else does. I kind of just watch everybody post the clips of what's going on with Uncle Howdy. If that is in reference to Uncle Howdy, I'm pretty sure it's in reference to Uncle Howdy. I am looking forward to it. It does seem pretty interesting, you know, what they got planned. Saw a couple names that are going to be a part of the group. We won't know for sure until it happens. You know, we won't see what's going to be, you know, everybody's got these ideas of what it's going to be. You know, everybody's got their theories, but unless you work for WWE, I don't think you really know what's going to happen. That's just my guess. So, for this week, since it's Monday, might as well let you guys know what the schedule is going to be. Obviously, tonight we're doing Monday Night Raw, watching Monday Night Raw. Tomorrow, there will be no stream, but Shay and I will be recording a new episode of the Ringside Rundown that will drop Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesday evening, I'll be doing a live watch-along for AEW Dynamite. Thursday, no stream. Friday, I won't be watching AEW Rampage because AEW Rampage will be coming on at 6:30. But I will be watching SmackDown. We will do a live watch-along of SmackDown. And then Saturday looks like it's going to be a double stream day. It's going to be in the afternoon. King and Queen of the Ring at 1 p.m. That's going to be on Peacock, but I'll also be doing a live watch-along stream for that. Again, that is at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because they're in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. And then in the evening, I believe Collision, same time as usual. So we're going to be watching Collision as well. So it'll be a double stream day on Saturday. Sunday is the AEW pay-per-view, Double or Nothing. I will be watching Double or Nothing, but I won't be able to do a stream for it because I can't afford the pay-per-view. So I go to a friend's house, watch it, take care of that, the expense of that. And I'll still be able to live tweet the show for you guys. And of course, now is the time that Hulu wants to not work, but they're working now, of course. That would be my worst fear, is like I'm doing stream is actually for some strange reason going well, and then all of a sudden Hulu just stops working. Hulu does like a no-sell job for me and just ruins everything. Let's just check settings, make sure everything looks pretty good. Everything looks okay. Quality is a little wonky on YouTube. I really don't like that. But it is what it is, you know. All right, back to the ring.
North Carolina, Sami Zayn versus Chad
They are in
Gable.
North Carolina
Will meet in the triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship this Saturday
at the Greensboro Coliseum, which is pretty cool.
Another one.
Big German suplexes from Gable. And I like how Gable sent Maxine and Tozawa to the back, but he keeps Otis. I feel like he did that on purpose because Otis might be, as Sami goes for his own German suplexes, it feels like Otis is more impressionable. Like he's more vulnerable. He's more susceptible to being manipulated, to being used as a pawn. I think it's very, very smart. Big. Oh, Michinoku driver from Sami Zayn. Chad kicks out at 2 from the Michinoku driver. It'd be neat to see like something happen. Otis comes in, he's trying to fight for Gable, and he takes the opportunity to go for that worm, ends up getting Chad Gable disqualified, and Chad just loses it. I think that would be smart. Gable picks the ankle. Wow, picks the ankle on the haluva kick attempt. Very, very interesting stuff.
Win for Gable tonight. Think about the momentum, Pat. He'll build going into Saturday.
Absolutely, and the pain and torture he's putting into Sami Zayn right now.
Zayn trying to make it to the ropes to force a break. On Saturday, there will be no break because there are no countouts and no disqualifications.
Keep looking over because, again, we're on Twitch and YouTube. Like I said, YouTube's been going kind of crazy. So I took the opportunity to see if it was a good idea to do a little streaming on the YouTube. So if you see this on YouTube, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate it if you hit that sub button on the YouTube or follow along on any of our social media links. You know, all that good stuff. See? Don't do it, Otis.
It looks like Otis isn't going to pull the trigger either. Otis looking to do the right thing here tonight.
You've done good, Otis.
Good job, Otis. Otis, do the right thing. Oh, he smacked him again. What the fuck? Jesus Christ.
Sami Zayn's Intercontinental title.
Oh. Oh, Sami with a sick exploder into the corner. Oh, now Otis does something. Come on, Otis. Oh, no, not Otis. I'm telling you, it's genius. Chad knows that Otis is he can manipulate Otis to do whatever he wants. Wow. ahead of the triple threat match in Saudi Arabia that Chad Gable was involved in, that Sami Zayn is defending the Intercontinental Championship in, Chad gets the win. Big. Poor Otis, man. Look at the people in the back. That's my favorite part. This is brilliant stuff. This is using your wrestling brain. This is using your wrestling brain for sure. Have they figured out how to suck Chad Gable?
So Chad Gable ready for the triple threat match.
Oh my God.
Sami Zayn and Bronson Reed as Otis gets involved here tonight to help him with the win. But I do
That's
want to go
incredible.
back to the last commercial break, Pat, and that weird QR code again. This is getting strange. Yeah,
they've figured out how to suck Chad Gable a la Kurt Angle.
Nobody's really been saying anything. Very eerie, very strange whenever you tag that QR
That is
I was watching one over the weekend,
wow.
and there was a psychotherapy session. Now the psychiatrist is missing. I mean, it is the strangest thing. Wow.
The psychiatrist is missing.
Tonight, it is
from the Uncle Howdy
Queen of the Ring tournament. Let's check in with one of the semifinalists, former WWE champion Io Sky.
Io Sky. My, Io Sky.
私は私の道を邪魔する者すべてを支配してきた。世界王者としてやってきたが、今王冠を手にする時が来た。ダメージコントロールはスマックダウンをもう支配した。私が女王になれば、ローの誰も私にひれ伏す。
I think Io is gonna take this. I mean, like I said, I like Lyra Valkyria, but seniority, you know. Io's been here.
私の領空にいるあんたをぶち落としてやる。私はジーニアス・オブ・ザ・スカイ。そして私はクイーン・オブ・ザ・リングになる。
Io Sky like a mermaid. She's the genius of the sky and the sea.
Of the ring tournament, Io Sky and Lyra Valkyria later on tonight. Also tonight is the King of the Ring semi-final matchup. Main event, Jey Uso to take on the former longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time, Gunther, in action here later on tonight. And also, Pat, we got a tag team championship match. Awesome Truth defending against Judgment
wow.
Day.
Tag team match for the championship against the Irish boys of the Judgment Day. Finn Balor and the man he trained, his protege, JD McBighead, JD McDonough. Fatal 4-way #1 contendership match for the tag titles. Gotta go with Judgment Day in this list. We got Shayna, Zoe. We got the Rave Girls, Katana Chance, and Katana Chance, and I can't remember the other one's name. They don't really get to be on TV a lot, which kind of sucks. I would love to see them on TV more, take more of a serious threat. Katana Chance in particular, she's got a very interesting move set that she doesn't get really, like, they do a couple cool tag team moves, but Katana Chance and Caden Carter, that's her name, Caden Carter. I can't believe I forgot. But they do a lot of cool tag team moves, you know? A lot of moves that remind me of the Rockers, you know, stuff like that. I think they do a lot of that cool stuff. So I'd like to see them get more of a chance to shine on Raw. They could shine for the women's division. The tag team women's division isn't really a thing, I guess. Like, it doesn't have its own, it has its own dedicated tag teams, like Caden Carter, Katana Chance. but they don't have a dedicated division. So you see a lot of these matches where it's like going for the title, you know, in a one-on-one situation or a fatal four-way in this situation, stuff like that, you know. But I feel like if we're gonna have a tag team division for the women, we need to fill it up. We need to fill it up with some tag teams, some designated tag teams that we'll only see in a tag team setting. I think that makes the most sense, you know. But once again, I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me, watching Monday Night Raw. It's appreciated. Thank you so much. I'm trying to look at because I've never streamed on YouTube, so I don't know what the the parameters are basically to you know, putting a stream together on YouTube. I've never done it before. I just know how to use Twitch. But YouTube, like I've been saying, has been growing like crazy in terms of subs, you know, things like that. People tuning in, commenting on the shorts. Because that's the thing, like little tidbit. If you're like a content creator, whether you do wrestling content creation, video game content creation, IRL, stuff like that, YouTube Shorts is the way to go. TikTok too, but TikTok, being that TikTok is a little bit more oversaturated with everybody trying to make content on YouTube or TikTok, like it's a little bit harder to get your TikToks out there. Right now, I'm stuck in what they consider TikTok people. They consider it 200 viewer hell, basically, because usually some of the TikToks that I post up get like a couple thousand, you know, but usually I'm stuck around like 200, something views, 300, something around there, which it doesn't bother me, you know. I'll grow, but you know, that just makes things interesting. But like I said, do the shorts. It'll be an easier way to get your content out there. Trying to go back to where I'm supposed to go. All right. I wonder if anybody actually has watched WWE Speed on Twitter. It's a Twitter exclusive WWE. I don't want to say show. It's not really a show. It's like, I don't know if it's like 1 or 2 matches. They're all under 3 minutes.
Raw, I'm backstage with Chad Gable and Alpha Academy. Chad, congratulations on your victory, though I do have to ask about the involvement of Otis in tonight's outcome. Is this all part of your master plan to win the...
Don't ask about that. What is that?
I'm sorry. We got to follow this.
Uh-oh. Something's going on. What's with people getting jumped backstage? Cruz del Toro? They think Carlito did it. I don't know, man. Zelina's the first on scene?
Cole, Pat, clearly there has been some sort of
I don't know. I don't trust anybody anymore, so I don't know.
Here on Monday Night Raw, I'll work to provide further details if I can. Cole, Pat, it's chaos back here. Chaos.
Just complete chaos.
Manager Adam Pearce has got his hands full.
All right, here comes Braun Breaker. This one should be quick. Get your clips ready.
Adam Pearce on the case. It'll get figured out. But now,
Nah, they need to bring back Braun's old theme.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first from Atlanta, Georgia, weighing in at 200.
This would be cool, but like, I you know, I'm so used to the old P.
His Monday Night Raw debut, Pat, he was the 6th overall draft pick in this year's WWE Draft. Braun Breaker, the unpredictable, intimidating yet authentic superstar set to take on
Who's this guy?
Cale Dixon.
Cale Dixon?
NXT Level Up. They know well.
Oh, okay. I don't watch Level Up, but they say he's on Level Up.
He's making his debut, but a lot of us have been barking since the draft.
Poor Cale Dixon. I don't think it's going to go good for him, to be honest with you. And your first name is Cale. Come on now. Let me get some drinks before you go.
The badass dog.
Appreciate it.
In Greensboro. Good luck, long-haired, handsome fella.
Long-haired, handsome fella. I don't know about his trunks, his tights.
I'm not even king of the return.
He's doing the hook deal. He's mad. Uh-oh.
Braun Breaker with the explosiveness just about ran through Cale Dixon.
And he throws him out of the ring.
Well, Pat, you heard Breaker talking to himself.
He's going to do it again.
In the corner saying first
He's going to kill him again.
King of the ring.
Oh, yeah, Braun. Oh, yeah, Braun. We're barking in Greensboro, pal.
And the speed and the impact
What?
of Braun Breaker.
He's got a chip on his shoulder. And a body
What
from
is
the
going on with Braun Breaker? He
One of
just
the most explosive
killed
men you'll ever
poor
see.
Cale Dixon. Yes, his first name is Cale.
Watch the speed. Bang!
Like the leaf.
Breaker, a man who runs the ropes in the ring at 23 miles per hour, Pat.
This is definitely the best way to get people to love Braun Breaker. We have an insatiable need to just watch people get fucked up. As my Hulu just glitches out on me. Thanks, Hulu, you piece of shit.
Ref saying save the bachelorette contestant a little bit.
Well, this is a true reality show for Mr. Dixon.
Yeah, he done.
Lightless and
He can't continue. Broad destroyed his ribs. He can barely breathe.
victory to Breaker.
What happened?
Dixon couldn't continue.
This is like he was wobbling around the ring.
Oh,
He's on the
boy.
way back to his corner.
Yeah, it was the referee stoppage of this match tonight. And
Poor kid's going to get back up and get drilled again.
Cale Dixon.
Oh, Lord.
I don't think.
Oh, no, he's doing the rope thing. Oh,
Another spear.
shit. This is great.
Flew right past the official Rod Zapata and about
It's
cut Dixon in
fantastic.
half.
Cale Dixon, welcome to the WWE. This is Monday.
You know,
Night
it'd be
Raw.
dope if he did this spot, like if he did the after the match kill spot, but like set up like a table in the corner, or like tried to like spear someone through like the barricade or something.
Breaker with steel steps and
Oh shit, he's crazy.
coming out to try to protect a lightless and defenseless Cale Dixon from further assault by
This
Braun
is
Breaker. The match
fantastic. I love it.
They've got to get Breaker
I love it. He's a psychopath.
If they were a remote control.
He's going to seriously hurt somebody else, Pat.
This man is a freak show. Let's go, get it down. Do the math. That's 100% badass.
Oh no, now he's got a chair. Even my dog's like my dog. Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
Get him out of here, guys.
Okay, Braun Breaker might be a psychopath.
We need emergency help out here.
I don't know who stops Braun Breaker. We need that person.
Braun Breaker leaving on a
That's insane.
his own time, his own agenda. But this is a serious situation.
That's
for
insane.
Cale
Braun
Dixon
just
here
killed
at
someone.
ringside.
Killed that man. He killed that man unnecessarily. That kid did not deserve that in no shape, way, or form. Did that kid deserve that? Oh my God. That was incredible. Just tweeting out something funny that nobody's gonna pay attention to. But yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out, watching wrestling with me. For watching, if you're watching on VOD, I appreciate you too, because like that means you clicked on the video that already happened and you thought it was interesting. Like you thought that my tweet or my tweets my video was interesting looking. You know, you said, hey, this guy's face looks fun. Let's see what he knows about wrestling. And you're like, his voice is I could do without the voice, but I need the voice to understand what's going on. Yeah, I get it. My voice isn't really made for radio or broadcasting, anything like that. But hey, if I don't do this, like, who's gonna give a shit, you know? But yeah, we're watching Monday Night Raw. This is apparently, according to Hulu, episode 21 of season 32 of Raw. That is insane. I wonder how long it would take you to be current and up to date. How long would it take you to be up to date on Raw if you watched every Raw back to back? How long would that take? That's an interesting question that I don't have the answer to. You know, I wish there was like 1,000 people in chat that could give me the answer. Somebody would do the math. You know, I can't really go online and ask like a message board. I can't go on Reddit because we all know how bad, you know, it's funny how we talk about, you know, Twitter and stuff like that being a toxic place for wrestling, the wrestling community. I laugh because I think of, when I hear the wrestling community, I think of Jim Cornette's reaction to that phrase. But we say, you know, Twitter is so toxic when it comes to wrestling, and it is very, very toxic. But like Reddit is pretty bad too. YouTube comments are crazy. The comments that I get in YouTube, I can't tell what type of fans these are. Not that, you know, but these, like, there are people out there that think this shit is real. You know, like, this is a real deal, and I'm not gonna ruin it for them. I'm not gonna make fun of them because they think it's real, but like, they take it to the extreme. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's fucking crazy. This Friday SmackDown is going to be from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, so it's most likely going to be pre-taped. That should still be fun. Here we go, a replay of a homicide.
Yeah, Braun wanted to prove a point.
Braun
to the
just,
whole world.
again,
And he
destroyed
should have been in the King of the Ring
a
tournament.
up-and-comer
He
from
thinks he would've won
NXT
the King
Level
of the
Up,
Ring
Cale
tournament.
Dixon.
And a Bachelorette contestant just felt the wrath of a badass.
But Cale, his first name is Cale, which is, oh my fuck. Like, that is even on replay. That is just, he's, Cale Dixon had to be stretchered out.
To be played with.
This is fucking nuts.
Cheers. What do you need me? How can I help you?
I appreciate it, but not now, okay? Thank you.
All right.
Kiana James makes an appearance. Put Kiana in the ring.
All right. Nice and easy, guys. Thank you. I ain't never been good at math, but you make this add up for me. What were you thinking?
Give him that Steiner math.
You can't control me. Okay? you didn't put me in King of the Ring, that's on you.
Better not make any more mistakes when it comes to Braun Breaker, Adam Pearce. Because that dude is dead. That dude is not alive.
General Manager Adam Pearce, Pat, has all kinds of problems. The LWO attack, Braun Breaker out of control. What else is going to happen?
Honestly, Adam Pearce's life is not necessarily...
Even the audience is like, still like, did you see that shit? Look at the guy in the back. He's like, yo, did you see that shit? Oh, look, they kiss. Oh,
Queen of the Ring tournament. Here's how we got it.
that's wonderful. I love fan couples.
The
So
Queen of the
nice.
Ring tournament rolled on with 2 quarterfinal matches. The first contest saw the rekindling of an old rivalry.
Get a
between
recap
Damage
of the
Control's
King
Io
Queen of the
Sky
Ring so far.
and the submission magician Shayna Baszler.
And Baszler on the attack.
Baszler tried to keep the genius of the Sky grounded, but Io's precision striking lifted her to victory.
Io has her where she wants her. Over the moonsault.
1, 2, 3. Io Sky advances.
Former NXT Women's Champion Lyra Valkyria tested her skills against the unrelenting Zoe Stark. Stark's heavy
I thought this was a great match as well. Probably one of, not one, probably was one of Zoe Stark's better matches so far. A lot of potential with Zoe Stark to make her a big deal. She may need a little bit more like mic work, but I think her work in the ring is pretty solid, and she's got a really cool finisher. You know, the Z360 or the GTH. Sammy Guevara uses it, calls it the GTH. No, is it the? Yeah, it is. Yeah, his is the
There
GTH.
she is. You come a long way for this. You sacrificed a lot for this. Now, I've been in the ring with you. I know how good you are at this. You go show them why this is all worth it. All right?
Becky, I got this.
You got this.
Well,
She don't got this. I don't think she got this. I think Io's got
Women's
this.
World Champion will join us a bit later on tonight, but right now, Lyra Valkyria is in the spotlight.
Lyra Valkyria. I like her. I think she's got a lot of upside.
In the Queen of the Ring tournament. Introducing first from Dublin, Ireland, Lyra Valkyria.
Had the woman who made her name when she beat Becky Lynch for the NXT Women's Championship last year. Really been the surprise of this tournament so far. She's a win away from the finals.
That's really cool. Hey, Mr. Merchant, what's going on, my man? How you doing? Thank you for stopping by the stream, man. I really appreciate it. Just here watching Monday Night Raw, realizing that we just saw Braun Breaker
Will the nerves set in?
destroy a kid that I've never seen before. You know, I'm still reeling from that attack from Braun Breaker. That was insane, but I mean, that was an effective way to get people to talk about Braun Breaker on the main roster. Yeah, that was pretty. The spears were like, okay, cool. Like, all right, yeah, he destroyed that man's inside. Yeah, that was cool. The chair shot on the stairs deal, that was like so unnecessary. Like, why would you, man? And then Pierce comes in and says, you know, I'm not good at math. And then you got the math joke with the Steiner. Who's writing the script? Who's writing the script here? I don't know. But I'm glad you just tuned in. You tuned in at the right time because now we're watching Io Sky make her entrance against Lyra Valkyria for the final of the Raw side of the Queen of the Ring tournament. My money's on Io. I like Lyra Valkyria a lot. I just feel like Io has more seniority, and she's also a former champion, you know?
However, Io Sky is the genius of the Sky.
Yeah, Io Sky said, Just like Damage Control ran SmackDown, when she becomes queen and has the crown, they'll dominate Raw.
So the winner will face Bianca Belair or Nia Jax from the SmackDown side. I wasn't missing Io's match, and I agree with everything you said. Yeah, I think this is going to be a good match. I'm excited. Did you check out the Marigold show? I was looking for it illegally. Illegally, Io Sky does a couple back handsprings to show off.
I don't think she can get distracted by things like that Io Sky can do with the greatest.
I did not get a chance to, but it should be on Wrestle Universe. Yeah, I did see that it is on Wrestle Universe. I did see a couple clips, but nothing substantial. I just saw a couple Julia clips, but nothing. I really want to check it out just to kind of just see something different that I've never ever seen before. Like, I would basically be going in as like a day one wrestling fan. Imagine watching wrestling for the very first time, like knowing you're gonna fall in love with it. That'd be crazy.
Another pinning combination and another near fall for Valkyria.
You're talking about biggest match of her life, Valkyria.
Indeed. Opportunity to head to the final.
Nice crossbody from Valkyria.
Hook of the leg. Isn't enough, and a kick out by Sky. Valkyria and Sky, who's going to the finals? The Queen of the Ring.
I mean, it'll be interesting if Valkyria wins this one. And she totally could. Like, if Valkyria wins it, it'd be totally believable for me. You know, she's brand new. She's a really good wrestler. She's already proven herself that she can handle the pressure being a champion. You know, and so like if Valkyria was to somehow pull this off, you know, she'll be great. Win or lose, Valkyria is going to look like a star. Exactly. You know, for her to go, you know, her very first matches are in this tournament. She's going to the final. She has a chance to go to the final for the Raw side. That's great. It's just, I'm really, really impressed with the fact that she's so solid in the ring. That's the most impressive part for me, is that she's really, really solid. Because a lot of times, especially now that WWE and NXT, they're not just looking for, you know, indie experienced professional wrestlers. They want athletes. They want gymnasts. They want track stars. They want football players. You know, anybody that they could take from that athletic background that they could say, you know, this person may have, you know, some charisma to make them a star in professional wrestling. They want people like that too. My point is, when you take someone like Valkyria, who has worked a lot, you know, in Europe and, you know, trained in Ireland, and, you know, she comes from that background, when you mix her in with other people that don't come from that background, that may just come from their collegiate athletic background, it could be a mismatch. But I think Valkyria is one of the ones that she's solid enough that she can have a decent match against anyone. And then we all saw what she did with Becky Lynch, and you know, the pressure that comes with that. Becky Lynch's first appearance on NXT since she left, basically, you know, and they were able to do something with that and make it a really good match. She'll be good either way. I just think Io, based on seniority, you know, been that, you know, she's already proven that she can be a star, handle, you know, the pressures of being Queen of the Ring. Imagine if we have Bianca Belair, Io Sky, Queen of the Ring. This would just further, you know, extend the whole Bianca Belair Damage Control situation, you know? And like, if something was to happen, if it was Bianca and Io, and let's say Io cheats and uses the other members of Damage Control to pick up the win. If that was to happen, Bianca really can't get her revenge because she's on SmackDown. Io and Damage Control are on Raw. You know, based on logic and the rules, they're not supposed to cross paths. They're not supposed to touch. You know, so it's just like, there's a lot of things you can do here with that. with Jade losing, that feels like it's the most likely scenario. Yeah, I wasn't mad, and I was pleasantly surprised that the internet didn't have a reaction like I thought they would. You know, everyone was pretty sensible in the idea of, yeah, we'd rather see, if there's going to be a Jade Bianca situation, we'd rather it be on a huge stage, something like a SummerSlam, you know, or WrestleMania. I would love a WrestleMania, because to get to WrestleMania next year means that they have to build enough time with what they have now. You know, they would play it out in an angle that would take a whole year. You know, that could be the norm for WWE.
Again, the winner faces Nia Jax or Bianca Belair.
That'd be great, man. Io versus Bianca or Nia Jax, because Nia Jax has really improved leaps and bounds. Will be great. Valkyria versus Bianca Belair would probably be fantastic. And again, Nia deserves a lot of credit. She's been changing her game. Trips does seem to like to plan things out a long way in advance. Yeah, it's just, that's been his game since he took over NXT. That's why we see these NXT storylines be so advanced in terms of using your brain, understanding the logic of pro wrestling. You know, it's a thing where, like, they plan things out months in advance, and they don't deviate from the plan. That was the whole deal with the McMahon regime, is that they would plan things out, but every single show, right up until they went live, there were changes to shows and ideas, because Vince McMahon couldn't stick to one thing. You know, and that's what happens. WWE, when Vince McMahon was in charge, it was a show for him. It wasn't a show for the audience or the wrestling fan. It was a show to placate Vince McMahon, make him happy with his dick and fart jokes. You know?
Around her back is just broken in half there.
Nice. Io's got her grounded in like a cross-face camel clutch. Almost.
Eddie Arengo right there asking Valkyria if she gives up.
I keep glancing over because I got my Yankees on TV. Yankees are going for win number 8 in a row. I don't know how the Rangers are doing in hockey. Hopefully. Rangers and Yankees, the only hope that New York sports has left.
Got a kick out of 2. Another cover by the former WWE champion and another kick out.
She thinks she has her.
A lot of heart and guts being shown here tonight by Valkyria.
Come on, fight back, Lyra. Fight back.
Valkyria will not allow Sky to even make it to a 2 count. Tremendous resilience.
Gotta fight back. She's getting bullied by Io right now.
Stubborn kick out there multiple times.
She's getting bullied.
Sky trying to drain the energy out of Lyra.
Don't Io, I wouldn't underestimate Lyra. She's new, but she's not the type to. Oh, she's getting that Joshi beat down. Oh, Lyra blocks it. Oh, it's paintbrush. Leg trap German. Nice.
And Lyra buys herself some time to try to
I jinxed it. Mariners just scored a run. It's 3-1.
Io might have landed on her collarbone there too.
Why the? Never mind. I'm getting too into baseball.
Just like that, Lyra might have found herself in the finals of the Queen of the Ring.
Lyra making it back to her feet.
Lyra's up first. Runs into hits Io with a wicked clothesline. Back kick.
Here we go. Nice
Lyra.
by Valkyria.
Ooh, closes it up with an enziguri.
Drive Sky out of the ring.
Can I get a 6-piece from Ireland?
Lyra from Dublin.
Oh, beautiful drop kick through the ropes.
Clever catching herself in the ropes.
Lyra's hair feathers are all over the place.
Valkyria now going to go up to the top rope. I said it earlier. She says she feels alive every time she flies.
Oh, beautiful crossbody off the top rope from Lyra Valkyria. That was beautiful. Pinpoint accuracy.
Hooks the leg.
Oh, fisherman brainbuster.
Of that fisherman's buster, and Io Able to get the shoulder
That
off
is sick.
too. Here's a
Lyra.
nice kick by Lyra, which
Lyra.
continue her momentum, followed by the crossbody.
Like you said earlier, Jeff. Win or lose, Lyra's looking like a star.
Almost end this, but Io Sky able to kick out.
And Io now just planting Lyra on the mat.
Oh, Meteora.
Stacking up Valkyria for the
Kick
win
out from
by
Valkyria
Sky
at
to
2.
kick out at 2.
That was the closest we've had yet. Io thought she was advancing.
Man, is Sky going to get frustrated now in this match?
Io can make a paper bag look like a superstar. That's very true. That's very true. There are very few in wrestling that have that quality that can make anyone, whether it be a rookie, a veteran, a broomstick. Beautiful, beautiful work. It's like a pendulum. This is just crazy. It's like a pendulum stretch. That was really, really good. Valkyria is really, really showing something. Like you said, Io's good. We all know Io's good. It's not surprising that her end of this match is great. It's not even surprising. It's just good to see that Lyra's holding her own.
Critical moment of the match. Shoulders down now is Sky, who's got to break the hold. Great move by Lyra. But
Shote.
Big right to the jaw from Io Sky. Has to feel like she can end this soon.
What's Io got in mind?
Into the corner. Lyra
Full head.
Io out to the apron.
Io over the top.
Right hand.
Forearm to the face of Lyra. Looks like she's going for a springboard maneuver.
Io looking to hit the skies.
Missile drop kick.
Drop kick from the top
Missile
rope.
drop kick on point.
Sky now.
Knees to the back.
Knees to the back of Valkyria. And Io says it's over.
Over the moonsault time.
To find a little rest on the ropes. I don't think so.
Sky looking for the over the moonsault, which
Lyra back up to her feet. Pulls Io off the top rope. Lyra's got Lyra's got Io. She was going for a tornado DDT.
And Io Sky got her hung up, and Lyra's hurt.
Yeah. Lyra went over the top. Ooh. Just an unnecessary kick. Acai moonsault. Lands on her feet, Io Sky does. That's why she's the genius of the sky. That's why she's the genius of the sky. That acai moonsault is something else. That was crazy. Yeah, to your point, like you said, Io can make a paper bag look like a superstar. I agree with you. Not a lot of people have that sort of intangible in wrestling. Guys like AJ Styles. I've always described AJ Styles the same exact way. Can have a match with a paper bag, make it look like a 5-star classic. Kenny Omega, same exact way. Anybody, a slouch, a bum, a jobber, a jabroni can have a 5-star classic with Kenny Omega if they just do what Kenny Omega says. Asuka's another one that can do that. There's just, not a lot of people had that intangible. Kurt Angle was another one that could make anyone look like a super competent wrestler when you're going up against Kurt Angle. So a lot of people don't have that intangible, where you could just put them in there, and just be like, all right, work with this person. And, they'll make that other person look like a star and they just look like a genius. It's crazy. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday. We're watching Monday Night Raw. The questions tweet for the podcast recording that is happening tomorrow has gone up. It's up on our Twitter. If you would like us to answer one of your questions, voice one of your comments, opinions, rants on anything professional wrestling, go ahead and drop any of that under that tweet in the replies, and Shay and I will answer it on the podcast. Like I said, we record the podcast tomorrow evening. It'll drop Wednesday morning 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So when you wake up, you're in the car, you're headed to work, you're already at work, you don't want to be there, so you'd like take the first 15 minutes of your work day and you're just like trying to decompress. You could throw the Ringside Rundown podcast, throw it on your headphones as we chat about wrestling. And like I said, it's a big weekend for wrestling. Memorial Day weekend, we got King Queen of the Ring pay-per-view on Saturday afternoon. Sunday evening is AEW Double or Nothing. So I'm pretty sure this has happened before, but WWE, AEW pay-per-views back-to-back, PLE pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it, back-to-back. That's pretty cool if you're a wrestling fan. I'm not a tribalistic wrestling fan. I like all wrestling. Even the wrestling I don't know about, I want to learn. So I love AEW. Do I recognize that there are things that AEW can do better? Of course. But for what it is, I think for the past month, they've gotten a lot better with their programming. Obviously, you know, I'm a WWE fan. I've been so practically all my life. This match is back. Looks like Lyra's in control, but they're fighting back, trading some shots. Boxing forearms back and forth. Lyra getting the upper hand. Lyra's just, now Lyra's in flight mode. She realizes she's in there with one of the best. She needs to go crazy. Another leg trap German attempt. But Sky fights out. Roll up into a double stomp into the gut. Ooh. Valkyria kicking out.
These two have been playing chess against each other all match.
You're learning a lot tonight about a very resilient and adaptive.
We got a little bit of blood coming from the nose of Io Sky. That's how you know this is a fight. Oh, she goes for the Meteora and Lyra moves out of the way. Hits a beautiful tornado DDT.
Tornado DDT. And now looking to set Sky up perhaps for a finishing move.
Oh, the Fisherman Buster again.
Hook of the leg.
And a kick out. She goes for the Fisherman Buster again. Hits it twice and still doesn't get the win.
I thought Lyra was moving on to the finals.
Well, no, that was more like a vertical Fisherman suplex. More so than a brain buster. Just being analytical before somebody in the comments is like, oh, you
now Sky, looking out of harm's way. Waistlock looking for a German suplex and a release.
Nice German from Io. Looks like she's gonna go for those double knees in the corner. Oh, she hit it. It's time for the over the moonsault.
Up to the top rope. Valkyria though.
Valkyria holding on. Valkyria just will not go away. This is great.
Caught the telegraph after
Oh, Lyra on the second rope. Io on the top rope. Looks like we're going for a superplex. No, she's transitioning into a fireman's carry. Almost like a air raid crash, but Io Sky fights out. Has her in a powerbomb position and just drops her. Wowee. Io Sky's got nothing. The gas tank is empty for Io Sky. She's got a little bit of blood trickling from her nose, like I said. She gets back up. She's going for that over the moonsault. And Lyra moves out of the way. Io lands on her feet. Lyra's got her on the shoulder. Io fights out of it. Oh, roll up. Got her. Oh, Lyra beats Io. Lyra beats Io. I know, Jeff, you're losing your fucking mind in a bad way. You are not happy. I'm totally expecting you to be throwing stuff right now. Lyra Valkyria, the rookie call-up to Monday Night Raw advances to the finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament. Damn, should I be working for WWE? I feel like I got a producer in my ear telling me what to say exactly when Michael Cole says it. This is incredible.
I'm shocked. There's the power bomb, but Io Sky looking for the over the moonsault.
That was the ending sequence is you know, fantastic.
Absolutely, middle of the ring.
I think the ending sequence was fantastic.
Sits down and gets a win. Welcome to Monday Night Raw. Lyra Valkyria.
Lyra Valkyria.
Finals of the Queen of the Ring.
Am I surprised? Yeah. Am I disappointed? Yeah. But that was one hell of a match. It was a great match. You know, it happens. I know as a fan, disappointed. I'm disappointed. Thankfully, I didn't have any money on it because I would have lost my money. Oh. Yeah. Whatever Io said.
Lyra, clearly emotions are running high, but this is your moment, okay? So let me ask you this. Could you have imagined, because regardless of what
No, I'm not throwing things. All right. Well, that's good. As long as you're not throwing things.
Just 3 weeks ago when you were drafted.
No, Jackie. 3 weeks ago, I could not imagine that I'd be standing here today, beating a former WWE Women's Champion. But the trick is, you don't always have to know how you're going to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you believe that you can. And I am now.
I don't know, man. I feel like they're going to go with Nia versus Lyra, which will probably be a good match. But Lyra versus Bianca, that'll be something.
Can she do it Saturday? Can she become the Queen of the Ring?
I think so.
This is how Islamic go. The lucification can be a prognosis as well. You stick your left arm in, you take your left arm out. You stick your left arm in, and then you shake it all about. What's up, dog?
You good?
I'm good, dog. Hey, bro, good conversation.
Miz, Truth, thanks for the chat. Hopefully we'll see you guys later on down the line, and maybe even for those tag team titles.
All right.
Hey, that long-haired guy named Pete, dog, he's a cool mate.
We need to focus. Judgment Day uses numbers, and with Carlito working with them, we could end up in a disadvantage tonight.
I got that taken care of, dog. I talked to my good buddy, Andre the Giant. He said he gonna have our back tonight.
Truth, I don't know how to tell you this, man, but Andre passed away like 30 years ago.
Passed away what? Trust me.
Andre, we could really use you in spirit tonight.
Who you talking to, dog? Who you talking to?
No one, nothing. No, I'm gonna go get ready.
And they say I'm the one that's crazy. Hi.
Oh, man. I don't know what the end game for the women's tournament, but I would rather see Lyra and Bianca as the final in this case. Yeah, that would be a banger match. That would be a banger match.
Like I said it before, I am frustrated. But there is no shame in losing to the man they call the main event. This is the kind of fighter who sets the bar, where you really need to break yourself to beat this man. But talking about a man who broke me several times. Gunther. Jay?
Look here, don't get it twisted, homeboy. I think you and I set the bar pretty high. So before you go saying anybody else's name, understand this. That just because you got the best of me one time, that doesn't mean that this is over. Not by a long shot, you feel me?
Oh, what the fuck?
Jeez.
What? What the fuck is wrong with Braun Breaker? Braun Breaker done lost his damn mind. Wow. Braun Breaker takes Ricochet out for kind of does he have a reason to be mad at Ricochet? I don't know. He's just a psychopath. We literally just saw him kill a man right in Greensboro, in the Greensboro Coliseum, and nobody did anything. Nobody called the cops. We didn't see security with walkie-talkies. We didn't see Braun Breaker being taken out in handcuffs. We didn't see any of that. On the street, it would have been a wrap for Braun Breaker. Wow. Interesting. So far, so good. I mean, this has been a pretty good edition of Monday Night Raw so far. Like I said, the Braun Breaker stuff, super interesting. Lyra Valkyria beating Io Sky to advance to the final of the Queen of the Ring tournament to face either Nia Jax or Bianca Belair. I see now that there's no Io, there's no real need for Damage Control to go on to Raw and screw with Bianca. There's just no need for it. Yeah, it's like you said, Jeff. I don't know what the end game is going to be in terms of what they have planned, but I mean, in reality, I kind of like it that way. I kind of like being kept on my toes, being surprised as a wrestling fan. We don't really see a lot of surprises these days when it comes to wrestling, you know? So, I'm digging it. I'm not upset with it at all. Unfortunately, I don't know if you're watching on the YouTube. The YouTube keeps not disconnecting, but it's a little slow. It's not caught up to the live feed. So there's a lot of there's a big time gap. So I got to figure that out on YouTube. I think it might be the bit rate that I have set here on Streamlabs, but I can't change that because then I would have to end the stream, and that wouldn't be good. At that point, it's just like, wow, you know, what's the point, you know? I agree that you don't. I'm only upset because I really wanted Io to land on her feet after losing her title. Seems she's kind of middling right now, and I don't like it. Yeah, you know, especially when it comes to, you know, performers that you like, you know, you don't want to see them lose their momentum, lose the steam, and then people, it's easier and it's quicker for people to forget about you and to forget about your dominance than it is to get them to remember you forever. You know, that's just wrestling. You know, that's the way it is. You know, so it is tough.
Braun Breaker's simply out of control.
My long shot, you feel me?
Spearing Ricochet through the equipment cases. Ricochet did
Why did he do that?
Deserve this, Pat.
Yeah.
What about here? What about there?
Why did he do that?
Braun Breaker sending a WWE management and every superstar on Monday Night Raw.
I don't know why he did that.
A message. Adam Pearce has got his hands full, as we mentioned earlier, but Pat, here's the question.
What is wrong with Ilya?
It's one way to get attention for Braun Breaker, what he's doing here, but is it the right thing to do?
Yeah, obviously attacking Ricochet, our speed champion.
All right, we got a couple yeeters, in the back.
Who didn't put Braun Breaker in the King of the Ring? I think that's all that Braun Breaker cares about.
Well, later on tonight, main event here on Monday Night Raw, it is Gunther versus Jey Uso in the semifinals of the King of the Ring tournament. Here's how we got here.
All right, so we got a little recap
Finals of the King of the
of
Ring
the
tournament
King of the
continued
Ring
last week
qualifiers.
with four of
Very
Raw's
interesting.
most skilled
People.
superstars competing to
It's
move
funny
on
how
to the
people's
next
reaction to like Jade and Bianca not happening are like, yeah, that's cool. We don't want it to happen at the Queen of the Ring. We want it to be a big deal. But when Jay beat Ilya, everyone had a fucking conniption. You know, like. Now I don't know. You think they would have Jay beat Gunther?
It was Gunther who marched on to the semifinals.
I don't know.
For the first time ever, main event Jey Uso went up against the Mad Dragon Ilya Dragunov. The former NXT champion brought the fight, pushing Jey Uso to his absolute limit. This intense back-and-forth clash saw both
That was a really good
superstars
match.
sprinting toward the
I gotta
finish
give
line.
that.
But in the end, it was main event Jey Uso who pulled out the hard-fought victory.
Jey Uso, taken to the semifinals of King of the Ring.
Tonight, the stage is set for another brutal collision between two of Raw's most prolific competitors. Gunther looks to advance and ascend the throne,
Soon to be the king of the ring.
while main event Jey Uso plans to spoil the Ring General's coronation.
I'll prove to you why they call me main event Jey Uso.
Only one superstar will move on to the finals in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and compete for the coveted title of King of the Ring.
Well, I have to admit, just some months ago I made fun of Jey Uso and I told
It's
him
like the situation with Kyrie.
simple
She hasn't
gestures
been given any chance to
for
shine
simple people.
in singles competition
And quite
since,
frankly, I was
since
wrong.
she returned.
because he turned himself
And it's
into
bullshit.
the hottest thing going.
I agree.
on
I
Monday
agree.
Night
I'd
Raw.
love to see more Kyrie.
And tonight,
She's
when
doing
Jey
a
Uso
lot
will make his
that,
way
that
to
like
the ring,
people are noticing. Hey, she's
all those
pretty
seats will be
entertaining
filled
outside her.
with thousands
Let's
of
see what
people
she's like
throwing
inside.
their hands in the air,
You know.
chanting his name.
So
and
I see
filling
where you're
his
coming from.
room
I
with hope
understand.
and illusion. Well, the bad news is I'm in the business of taking hope away and dragging people back down on the ground of reality. Because tonight, when main event Jey Uso takes on the Ring General Gunther in the semifinals of the King of the Ring tournament, it's not about who's the more exciting act on its way to the ring. It's about who's the better professional wrestler when that bell rings. And Jay, I'm sorry to say it, you might be the most exciting showman
Titties.
in this company today.
Okay.
But in
What a
that
way
ring,
to make your
I am
entrance to
superior
the
to
chat, Anubis. Thank you very much.
And after that final bell,
I do love titties. Thank you.
all those people
My titties are not showing.
are going to embrace me. Already, the general
Your
of
brother
this
just
sacred
bust
ring,
out laughing.
soon to be the
Of
king
course.
of the ring.
Of course. Gunther. He's going to be the king of the ring.
Finals of the King of the Ring tournament will
Jey
be
Uso
Gunther
versus
or
Gunther.
will be main event
Again,
Jey Uso.
my money is on
Find out your
Gunther,
main event
just like my
semifinal
money
action
was
later
on EO,
tonight.
and I lost my money there.
Stronger
So,
Together is brought to you by
I want to put my
Progressive.
money on Gunther,
Get
but
even
I
more
do
savings when
see,
you bundle your
I
boat,
do
RV,
see
or
them
motorcycle
giving
with
it to Jay.
Progressive.
I do see them making a big deal out of Jay winning, beating Gunther, and possibly becoming the king of the ring. But again, it's kind of like your point about damage control. They've been taking kind of a couple of L's. So is it like, is their momentum going to be stifled because of it? You know?
Backstabber on the table. Coup de grace. Judgment Day are the #1 contenders.
All right. So that's how Judgment Day gets the chance at the tag title.
My favorite Irish lads.
Damage control has no momentum at all anymore. Yeah.
No, we're bringing them back to where
I
they
definitely agree.
Right here, in the clubhouse.
I like it, I like it. Which one, this guy? Oye, Carlito. I heard about what you did to Cruz. Word is, my man's gonna be out for a while. Pero ya tú sabes. That means LWO is gonna be pissed. Looking for you.
No. The LWO was coming after me.
decided to strike first.
Uh.
And now I'm just laying low, until the heat dies down.
Until the heat dies down. Did I miss the sign that says APA? We're not your personal protection agency. You know that, right?
Yo, Priest, he came through for JD and Finn last week.
You did. That's exactly why you're welcome here this week. Just keep earning your keep, you know what I'm saying?
Damn, so they're treating Carlito like a pro
All right,
beat.
guys. Go do your thing, man. Let's get it.
All right, let's go. All right, come on, Susie, let's go. Hey, I can't help but think of, I wish it was me and you out there tonight. But I get it. You're the champ now.
I wish we would have got. If we're not gonna get Damian at King of the Ring, why is he not wrestling on the show?
Tough break, huh? What's wrong with you?
We're cool, all right?
All right.
Pacers beat the Knicks.
Greensboro! It's
God.
about that time. Truth, what we about to do? Let's crank it up. Now here we go.
Just let Truth do the song gimmick. We don't need Miz to add his voice to this situation anymore. Oh, great! The Yankees went from winning 1-4 to be winning 3-4. That's awesome. That's cool. Oh, it's the 9th inning? Oh, great. Oh, great. Clay Holmes just walked the bases loaded. Oh, great. Fantastic. R-Truth. R-Truth is my only saving grace for happiness at the moment. Miz, no! Miz, no! Stop giving Miz the microphone to do this thing.
Tell him who he is. The awesome truth. People over there, what's up? You feel me? Let me hear you say what's up. What's up? What's up? Miz, tell him who he is. The awesome truth.
Miz could just tell people what's up. If we need him on the microphone, just say what's up.
What's up? What's up? Miz, tell him who he is. The awesome truth.
Miz adds so much.
No, he doesn't. You're lying, Michael Cole. Don't lie to the people like that. Oh, great. They tied up the game. Fuck me. I want to roll my wheelchair into traffic. Fan-freaking-tastic. Ah, well. We got the Judgment Day. Finn Balor. Big head JD McDonough. 1x1 Lego piece head JD McDonough. Rubik's Cube head dash JD McDonough. I feel bad now. He's going to be teaming up with Finn Balor. They're going to represent the Judgment Day. They're going to go after Awesome Truth for the Raw Tag Team Championships. I can't tell what's the World Tag Team Championships and what's the WWE Tag Team Championships, so I just call them by brand. I think they should have did that from the jump. I think it just makes more sense. Makes things a lot more easier. You know, but WWE is WWE. Anyway, Awesome Truth, Judgment Day, Raw Tag Team titles, should be pretty good. I do like that they're giving R-Truth a little bit more shine. You know, he's a vet, you know, and to be able to do what he does at his age, especially after he had his leg injury. His leg injury last time was crazy. They had to do like medevac, something, like he had some sort of MRSA or something, some sort of infection during his rehab for his leg, as the Yankees just gave up the go-ahead run in the 9th inning. Fuck me. He had some sort of infection in his leg that was really bad. That was like life-threatening. That was like eating a hole in his leg or something crazy. Something crazy. So to come back after that, I mean, at the age he had that injury, I'd just be like, all right, well, I mean, at this age, why would I keep going and risk having an injury like that? But he decides to bring it back. They give him a great WrestleMania moment where he wins the Raw Tag Team Championships with The Miz. So, I mean, in that sense, it's pretty cool to see him get some time to shine on the big show. He definitely deserves it. Without a doubt, a first ballot Hall of Famer. Easy to say. Judgment Day winning back the titles. I mean, last time Judgment Day had the titles, it wasn't anything substantial. Like they had a couple good matches, but nothing to go crazy over. So we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. Just waiting for the show to come back. And we are back.
Hey, Monday Night Raw is in Greensboro, North Carolina tonight, but Baron Corbin, who's now a superstar on Friday Night SmackDown, was actually in Kissimmee, Florida yesterday at the Pro Bowlers Association playoffs.
I saw this. I don't know if you guys are watching, but I saw this clip. Baron Corbin doing like I guess what you consider like the first bowl for the bowling playoffs. And he missed the strike by 1 pin.
Our friends at WWE supply the hardware for the PBA playoffs champion, David Boog Kroll. The biggest moment of his life.
Thank you.
Why would the WWE?
So how did Corbin do on throwing his first ball? Here's the Piero Patastrator.
Yeah, well, first things first, you think to yourself, I haven't seen this guy a long time. Yeah, that's Baron Corbin. You do remember, he's the guy that we often wondered if he had a brain inside of that head. He was once a crown, a King of the Ring winner, and then he became a guy that smelled as a homeless, bum-ass, piece of trash version of himself. But look at him now. He's jocked, he's handsome, and he's bowling. He read the oil patterns perfectly. And what did he do? He checked the watch. He got good spin, missed the pocket, hit the top, only knocked down 9. And then his big dumb ass goes, damn, only need one more, guys. Only need one more for a big old strike in your face, pal. That's eyeballing. A man that could be a champion again, former king for sure. And a bump.
Wow.
Well.
Oh, wow. Whoa. Sonya Deville.
Shayna Baszler. Hi, Sonya. Zoe. There was actually something I wanted to talk to the two of you about. Do you have a second? I mean, yeah.
No. Sonya, whatever it is you're trying to sell us, we're not interested. All right? Let's go.
Dude.
There's a fatal four-way later on tonight. Sonya Deville, she's been out 9 months with a knee injury, is back. And
9 months with a knee injury. I wonder what her injury was.
Any good, Pat?
Must have been serious.
She's always cooking something mischievous. That's why they call her Sonya Devil.
Sonya Devil. Oh, that. I can't believe people dislike Pat McAfee. I get it. He's very extra. He's very over the top. But he's still kind of funny. And he plays off Michael Cole very well. We got JD McBighead doing the Triple H gimmick. Finn Balor doing the Jay White gimmick. Well, no, because Finn Balor's always had the thing where he did the look at my abs. Look at my 10 abs. I haven't had a carb in 32 years.
Well, obviously now has a shot at the titles, and we just heard Finn tell Damian Priest earlier he wishes that he was wrestling with him.
You know, Pat, individual event tickets for Friday Night SmackDown.
Damn.
Castle at OVO Hydro in Glasgow.
They're gonna excommunicate if they don't get the win here. They're gonna excommunicate McDonough and sub in Carlito. which would be crazy. Damn, they're gonna get rid of JD McGriddle. That's crazy.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall, and it is for the World Tag Team Championship! Introducing the challengers, accompanied to the ring by Dominic Mysterio.
Dominic Hurt is still getting major boos.
The team of JD McDonough and Finn Balor.
Still getting boos.
And their opponents, they are the World Tag Team Champions, R-Truth and The Miz. Awesome Truth!
You know, Finn Balor and Damian Priest headed into WrestleMania as the Undisputed Tag Team Champions, defended in a six-pack ladder match.
Those are some nice
In that
belts.
matchup,
I like those
R-Truth and
belts.
Miz,
They
grabbed
look
the Raw
better
Tag
than
Team
the
titles.
giant
Became
quarters
champs
that they
night,
had
now
on
the
their shoulders
World
early.
Tag Team Champions defending against Balor and JD McDonough. So Balor and Miz will start things off in this matchup. Balor, a former Universal Champion, Miz, former two-time
JD McFunko.
WWE Champion. You know, for Balor and McDonough, this
That's
is an
a funny
interesting
sign.
matchup. Finn Balor trained JD McDonough and was also very instrumental in JD McDonough becoming part of the group Judgment Day.
So a lot of people say that he's the one to blame for all of this, but nonetheless, you would think they would know each other very well.
Tag made. Here comes McDonough, who's looking to win his first major championship here in WWE. And
I mean, it makes all the sense in the world to give Judgment Day the titles. They're a more solid team, more solid unit. They have the World Heavyweight Champion in their camp. Makes sense. You never know. I don't know. R-Truth and The Miz, as much as I love them, and I think they're great, more so R-Truth than The Miz, I just feel like
R-Truth and Miz.
they're a novelty. I don't buy into them as champions. But again, I mean, it's R-Truth. He's like 50-something years old, and he's doing stuff like that. Like,
R-Truth does anything.
This means a lot for R-Truth as well as he tags in The Miz. Remember, there was a time there for a number of months where
I keep going over to YouTube, making sure that the timing's right. It looks pretty good for now. Good to go.
Now it's about destroying the group.
Oof.
That process tonight.
And also enjoying life as a champion.
Miz hitting a bunch of the Miz's greatest hits.
Deserve.
Big boot to Finn Balor on the apron. McDonough goes in. Miz slides in for the roll-up. It gets a 2 count.
For the skull-crushing finale, McDonough able to.
McDonough gets out of the way. Big boot to McDonough's giant head.
Dominic with the distraction.
Of course, Dominic has to give us a distraction. McDonough uses his giant head and shoulders to attack Miz's midsection. All right, we're going to commercial break. I love Pat McAfee. I don't know. I think he's great. I think he makes stuff fun, you know? Wrestling is supposed to be fun. Don't tell that to anyone on Twitter, though. They don't like fun. Wow. Holy shit. Eddie Kingston confirmed that he suffered tears to his ACL and meniscus as well as the tibular fracture. They will require surgery. While Kingston had hoped to be back by AEW's All In London, his post-surgery recovery will likely mean he will be closer to 9 months. Kingston commented, "This is part of the game. Injuries happen. I will be back." Wow. Just a bummer news about Eddie Kingston. Obviously, won't be a part of Anarchy in the Arena, as we found out last Wednesday. Now, it seems like he won't be a part of anything pretty much at all for the next 9 months or so. That's not cool. That's not, yeah. Man, tore his ACL, meniscus, and a tibular fracture. Fuck me. Like, oh man. He's got the leg of a half-eaten KFC chicken wing right now. That's just fucking... Whew. That is a bummer. That is a bummer. You don't want to see anybody get hurt. You don't want to see your favorites get hurt. Eddie's, you know, we're being fair here. You know, he's a little bit up there in age. I say that because when you have injuries like that, you know, and you're older, it's a lot harder to recover. You know, especially if you do athletic shit like professional wrestling. Well, I mean, during the match, and I only know from watching the spot that it happened. It was, they draped the table and they bridged it between the apron and the guardrail on the outside. Gabe Kidd hits Kingston with a suplex. Kingston's leg fucking wraps around the guardrail real viciously. Obviously, I know that wasn't intended for the spot. I mean, so you look at it and go, well, did the spot really need to happen? Look what we lost. Back to the action on Raw. They're in Greensboro, the Greensboro Coliseum. The legendary Greensboro Coliseum. Multiple Starrcade events. Multiple legendary Crockett events. Dusty. Early days of WCW. Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat. Shit like that. Where Sting retired at AEW Revolution this past year. Bunch of shit went down in the Greensboro Coliseum. And the Yankees lose. I can't be too upset. They won 7 in a row. But they had this one in the bag. And they ended up losing. So, good job, bullpen. Yes, celebrate Seattle like you've won the World Series as Boot gets up in the face of McDonough. And McDonough and Miz had the same idea going for a clothesline.
JD's head, I wonder what got the worst of it. The bottom of Miz's foot or JD's head, now both of them down.
Critical moment in this matchup tonight. Tag made. Here comes Truth. Truth and Balor now.
Boom.
And there's R-Truth.
R-Truth doing the John Cena greatest hits.
Calls his childhood hero. The GOAT, John Cena. And Balor not going to allow him to deliver the 5-knuckle shuffle.
Allison, I grew up watching that as well.
Drop toe hold. Looking for the STF. Middle of the ring. McDonough breaks things up. Miz sent out right here in front of us. I still don't know how he does that. Truth says McDonough up over the top rope. Balor roll up to try to win the titles and a kick out.
True ageless wonder R-Truth.
Sling blade by Balor.
I missed the Demon, Finn Balor. They need to bring back the Demon.
Better for Judgment Day.
Tag made. McDonough now. Double team coming from Judgment Day.
We have an age and a man advantage.
Truth.
Big boot.
Cuts underneath. Down goes McDonough now.
Cena suplex. Miz does the Cena suplex.
Miz, who once battled John Cena at WrestleMania.
You can't see me. You can't see me.
Is going to deliver, I guess that's a 10-knuckle shuffle.
10-knuckle shuffle.
Look who's out here.
Carlito's out here.
The reason Judgment Day's even in this matchup to begin with.
Carlito's been showing up for Judgment Day.
Uh-oh, R-Truth has JD McDonough on his shoulders. JD fights out. Roll up. Kick out.
Kick out by Truth.
Ducks a clothesline, does Truth. Flatliner.
Face first goes McDonough. Cover by Truth for the win. Hook of the leg.
Carlito puts JD's leg on the bottom rope. On the bottom rope. That son of a bitch, Carlito.
Carlito saved it. Again paying dividends for
That
Judgment Day.
bastard Carlito.
Carlito might be looking for friends because LWO is
Dominic's on the apron distracting the referee. Carlito sneaking his way back into the match. Uh-oh. That's not someone you want to see right now. Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman's here.
Now JD McDonough's on high with the monster. Who's
Run, JD, run. Run, JD. Okay. Attitude adjustment. They retain. That was a nice way to retain. That was a cool way to retain. I'm not mad at it. Yo, what's going on? How you doing today? Favorite active wrestler across the landscape. All right, so you're saying, and thank you, by the way, Progressive FB, for checking out the stream. I appreciate it. Favorite wrestler across the landscape. Favorite active wrestler. Oh man, that's tough. I'm gonna go with on each side. So I'll start with AEW first because that's the easiest. On the AEW side, it's kind of a tie. Yeah, it is definitely a loaded question, especially to put me on the spot. On the AEW side, it's kind of a tie. Malachi Black, because he's definitely one of my favorite types of wrestlers. With his style of wrestling and the dark aesthetic is something that I like. And also Bryan Danielson, because, you know, to me, he's one of the GOATs, Bryan Danielson. So those are my two on the AEW side, as we see Liv have an interaction with Lyra Valkyria. On the WWE side, I gotta go with Cody. Cody's always, oh shit! Liv just socked Lyra in the mouth. What the freak was that about? So, WWE side, damn, who would be my favorite? Cody, I'm big on Cody. I think Cody's great. Damn. The thing with WWE, and it's not taking me a long time to figure out who's my favorite in WWE, it's the fact that almost literally everyone in WWE is doing such a good job right now. You look across the board, I mean, Randy Orton's back and he's cool. So he's definitely up there. Kevin Owens is doing good work. Sami Zayn is doing incredible work. If I had to pick a favorite, it just came to me, it'll probably be Gunther. Gunther is probably my favorite active WWE performer right now because he's a throwback. He would have fit in the late 70s, early 90s as a heel because he has that European aesthetic where he looks like a military guy. He's very old school in his moveset. The one thing I always found fascinating about Gunther, his moves are chop, shotgun drop kick, maybe a splash off the top rope, and body slam, power move. That's it. Nothing flashy. He doesn't have signature moves. He can beat you with a power bomb. He can beat you with a clothesline. You know, it doesn't matter. It's whatever he calls for. So I got to go with Gunther on the WWE side. Favorite active wrestler across the landscape is Jay White. Love the Switchblade. I love the Switchblade. I think the Switchblade is great. I am glad that they are starting to make him a more focal point outside of the Bang Bang Gang. I felt like, he should have been a main event guy right off the bat because he was a highly touted free agent. Gunther can also beat you with the slap the fuck out of you. Yeah, I mean, when you can beat a guy with a slap the fuck out of you, I mean, you're gold. You're basically on your way to a Hall of Fame right there. But in Jay White, I felt as soon as he got to AEW, He should have been a main event guy. He just has that charisma. He cuts one hell of a promo. He looks great. You know, he should have been a big guy. I thought it was a massive fumble to make his first titles in AEW be a trios title for ROH. I just didn't think that made sense. I originally hated the Guns. They're truly growing on me. 1,000% fact. That is 1,000% fact. I was in the same boat. I thought the Guns were annoying. I thought I couldn't buy into them because they were too over the top for me. But now they just fit like a glove, kind of. In the beginning, it kind of felt like Jay wasn't feeling the Guns. Like, he was just like, oh, this kind of, like, his body language was just like, I'm not feeling this. But now that there's time that's passed, you can see that they're gelling, they're working together. It's making a lot of sense. The Guns are pretty entertaining. Pretty entertaining. But again, thank you for that awesome question to make me think during the live stream. Don't really get questions like that, but I appreciate it. Just so you know, my name is Eric. Obviously, you can see that. I am one half of the hosting team for the Ringside Rundown podcast. We are dropping a new episode Wednesday morning, Eastern Standard Time at 9 a.m. You want to check it out. That's the Spotify link to the podcast, but it's available all across the board on any podcast platform that you used. You can listen to it there. And it's kind of like what you just did there, Progressive FB. It's a question and answer based podcast. So basically, the whole entire podcast is us answering wrestling related questions by people that listen to the show. So you can get into it. Like I said, you can subscribe on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you'd like to ask a question for the podcast, drop it underneath that tweet in the replies. We got Sami Zayn here.
Sammy.
And Big Bronson Reed.
To be concerned with Chad Gable and his mind.
I feel ignored
because
half the time.
All they are.
Well, obviously, like I said, if you ask a question for the podcast,
Look into my
you will
eyes.
definitely not be ignored. We answer every single question. Sometimes we get, 25 to 30 questions an episode. Jeff can tell you, Jeff is one of our big supporters. He listens to all the episodes, and he can tell you some of our episodes go quite long because we make sure to answer every single question. We kind of try to have the podcast kind of like a Howard Stern Rat Pack sort of family,
Look who it is.
And Otis approaches Sami Zayn in the locker room. Obviously, he must feel bad for what he did.
I really did. I expect that crap from Gable, but not from you. I thought you were better than that. Maybe I'm wrong about you, though. Yeah?
Sometimes I send as many
Are you
as
proud of yourself?
11 questions. They
'Cause you
get all
shouldn't.
of them. Who do you think has stronger slaps, Eddie Kingston or Gunther? I'm not sure. I would like to see a forbidden door between AEW and WWE, but I don't see it happening. To answer your first question, Gunther. Gunther all the way. You would have to pay me a lot of money to take a chop from Gunther. Eddie Kingston, they're okay, but they're more like a Kobashi sort of style chop. Gunther, he chops to literally try to cave your chest in. Would any true wrestling fan love to see a WWE, AEW style Forbidden Door type show? Of course. Problem is how do you make that work? Like, all right, they do a Forbidden Door and we get Roman Reigns versus Kenny Omega. You're going to tell me you can figure out a way to make one or the other beat his opponent clean in the ring, and we're going to believe it, and going forward, we're going to be like, well, that person lost, but they're okay. They're still the big dog, the alpha of the wrestling industry. That sort of stuff is difficult. It's a little bit easier if it's WWE and TNA. WWE has more leverage. TNA is coming into this deal to get WWE eyes on TNA. Going forward, they won't talk about it. Yeah, I don't think it's a plausible deal. Like, I would love to see it. I would love to see Roman Reigns versus Kenny Omega, or Will Ospreay versus Seth Rollins. Something crazy like that. You know, I would love to see matches like that. It's just, how do you, if you're Tony Khan, how do you sit with Triple H and say, okay, one of your guys can take the win here, one of our guys take the win here, our big main event, let's say Roman Reigns, Kenny Omega, Roman Reigns, MJF, something like that. How do you go, my guy deserves to win that match? You know, our company deserves to be standing tall. It's crazy. But it's a wonderful thought. And trust me, as a true wrestling fan, I'd love to see it. I'm curious, are you not a Kingston fan? He's a strong talker. He's my top 5 of active talkers. If you knew me and listened to the podcast, you'd know I'm a massive Eddie Kingston fan. Like I said, top 5 active talkers, I'd put him in that. I'd put him in the top 10 all time. His Chikara promos, I don't know if you listened to any or seen any of his promos outside of AEW. That's where the bulk of his work is really, really good. Like, his stuff in AEW hasn't even touched the surface of what he's capable of because we've seen it outside of AEW when he was on the indies. His Chikara promos, legendary.
But now we are dealing with a very different Liv Morgan. Yeah, she's hell-bent on revenge, and now she's hitting people from behind, and she's
so that's why Liv socked Lyra in the mouth. Obviously, it makes sense now because Lyra's very closely associated with Becky. Makes sense.
When I first came over here.
Wow, oh my goodness, cut the music, please. The way that you are gaslighting the WWE Universe right now is literally insane. You punched me in my face last week and I come out to retaliate and I'm the bad guy? Then Damage Control comes out to attack you, so I leave because it has absolutely nothing to do with me, and all of a sudden I'm scared to fight?
She's using the Drew McIntyre defense,
Becky,
which is logic.
I don't care about these other women. I barely even care about you. All I care about
She's
is
using
my
the Drew
purpose,
McIntyre
which
mode
is
of
to complete
offense.
The Liv Morgan Revenge Tour.
I love it.
Oh, that's right. You finally figured out a purpose after being here for nearly 10 years. You finally
Top
figured
5
out what
active
the hell you're doing
talkers.
Here. I can't relate.
Moxley, Strickland, MJF, Kingston, LA Knight. Those are yours.
Into a wrestling gym. I wrote a New York Times
Top 5.
book about my purpose.
In no order, I would go Kingston.
I wanted equality. I wanted to change the game. I wanted to break down
Punk.
barriers.
You can't forget about Punk.
Ceilings. I wanted to main event WrestleMania.
MJF.
And after 22 years, my purpose
MJF
still
is not
remains
active.
the
I
same.
mean,
I want to make sure
I'd
that
still,
when I leave
yeah,
this
well, he's been
place,
out for a while. You're right.
than
Samoa
how I
Joe.
found it.
Samoa Joe definitely belongs in that conversation. So you have Kingston, Punk, Samoa Joe.
So if you get it, what happens next?
Okay.
Kingston, Punk, Samoa
You're
Joe. I'm trying to find somebody from
really
WWE on the
delusional,
WWE
Becky. It's
side
actually
to
insane.
add to this list.
The fact that you come out here and say, I break barriers, I break glass ceilings. The fact that that's what you actually think about yourself, I'm actually a little bit embarrassed for you.
I can't think of anything out of those. I mean, Cody's a good talker. Cody's a very good talker, especially ever since he went back to WWE. Problem with Cody in AEW as a talker was he was trying to do the rah-rah, we're up against WWE speech, and AEW fans were not about that. They didn't want the rah-rah battleground planting the flag type speech. So it felt inauthentic to them. That's why, but it's why it works in WWE. So Cody's got to be up there. And you know what? I'm gonna throw a little curveball. Paul Heyman.
anything about
Paul
yourself
Heyman,
and actually asking me a question
probably
about me.
one of the
You wanna know
greatest,
what's
if not the
next after I
greatest,
complete the
talking
Liv Morgan
manager
Revenge
of
Tour?
all time.
After 10
You know,
long, hard
so
years in the WWE,
Paul
I will
Heyman's
finally
a
sit
better
where I
talker
belong,
than
which
a
is
lot
at
of
the
people
top
that I
of
just
this
mentioned on my
division
list.
as your new women's world champion.
Slick choice, I approve. It's just honestly, when it comes to a promo, the whole point of the promo is to sell something. Paul Heyman can sell ice to an Eskimo. You know,
These people know
he
that
can
you're
sell
lying,
sand
because
to a
one
desert.
thing I know about these people is that you can't trick them, and they know that I do everything for them. They know I give my best for them. They know I will always put my body on the line.
I have this crazy idea that Strickland is going to lose the title to Christian Cage to you. I don't know. I don't think he has the chance. I think it's from the jump, I thought it was a great choice to have Christian Cage be his first pay-per-view title defense. I thought that's a genius idea. But
Here we go. Why wait till Saturday?
I mean, you don't want to undercut one of the hottest young stars in professional wrestling as a whole. You know, him winning the title was a big deal. Fans felt like it was a big deal because they got what they want. They all wanted Strickland to be champion. They felt it was right. It makes sense. AEW's a young company. Strickland's a young guy, young up and comer, probably in his prime right now. So I don't want him to lose the title. But if he just so happened to lose the title to Christian, that's not a bad choice. I think Keith Lee is going to come back and screw him out. They have unfinished business. It would be smart and a very, very AEW style to have Strickland win the match. He's celebrating in the ring, and before the pay-per-view finishes, have Keith Lee come out and attack him. The pay-per-view goes black, and the whole point is people are going to look at that and go, damn, I got to watch Dynamite now because now I got to see what's going to happen. It's a whole point of you give people what you want and then give them something to come back for more.
All right,
you know?
Easy fix. You go to Pierce and you ask him for a match against Strowman next week. Guys, we need to get back on track here.
Somehow JD McDonough's head got bigger.
I don't even recognize this anymore.
And more square.
Hey, big man. Big man.
I don't know. The issue with Keith Lee, is he going to die? I'm concerned. He's being very vague with his health issues, which is totally his prerogative. It's his right to be as vague as he wants to. But it's definitely serious. And the sad part is he doesn't really have any answers as to when things are going to get better for him. And it sucks. There's an injury bug going around all of wrestling right now. Everybody's getting hurt for some reason, and it sucks. Just read about the Eddie Kingston situation. Eddie Kingston's situation is a lot worse than what they thought. He has a broken tibular bone, a torn meniscus, and a torn ACL. So it looks like minimum he'll be out 9 months. So he definitely won't be available for All In London. But yeah, he does need surgery. He does need surgery. The leg is not good. The leg is as strong as wax paper right now. They said recovery time is minimum 9 months. Again, he has a tibular fracture, a torn meniscus, and his ACL is basically non-existent. So that sucks. And it's funny that you talk about Eddie Kingston because, like I said, everybody who knows what I do, listens to the podcast, they know I love Eddie Kingston. He's just real. For me, Eddie Kingston, it'll sound crazy to people because everybody wants to be negative, but for me, Eddie Kingston is our generation's Dusty Rhodes, like to a T. It's crazy to think last year around this time, Kingston teamed up with the Young Bucks versus BCC. Now it's kind of flipped. Yeah, it is flipped. But that's the thing I'm saying. Like, when it comes to Eddie and his talking, like, I'm not saying AEW has done anything wrong, or if they fumbled him, they haven't at all. I just feel like we had the real Eddie Kingston when he was cutting promos to build up that program with CM Punk. That's when we got the real Eddie Kingston. We got the guy that could put a program on his back with his words. You know, he's kind of cooled off from that. You know, he's kind of cooled off from that. I don't know why. It could be, it could be he's in a better place. A lot of Eddie Kingston's legendary promos that he cut in like Chikara and all the other places where he made his name, they were great, but they were real. And they were real in the sense that they were coming from a very dark place. Like that's the only way to put it. They were coming from a very, very dark place. Like mentally, he's not the most solid person mentally. But he was able to express himself and be real through his promos. And I think that's why people fell in love with him. His ring work, the one thing about his ring work is that if his opponent gives him something, he can make that look like he's selling death. He's great at that. But it's his believability through his words that, like, you want to see that guy get his just due. Because he's not like every wrestler. He's not out here, with the Finn Balor 10-pack abs. He's not jacked to the gills like Brian Cage. He's a guy that looks like me, you, any guy off the street coming home from his 9-to-5 construction job that just likes wrestling, And maybe he likes wrestling too much because, someone else on Twitter were analyzing the match where he got hurt. And they're like, it's totally in the realm of Eddie Kingston to do a tribute to like the All Japan 4 Pillars and fucking destroy his kneecap and his leg, in a match for New Japan. It sucks, but if Eddie Kingston says he's going to be back, then Eddie Kingston's going to be back. So just a quick reminder, if you're watching the stream, hanging out, if you haven't, please hit that follow button so you can stay up to date all streams. Like I do, me specifically, I do a bunch of streams. Tonight we're doing Raw. Tomorrow there's no stream, but we'll be recording an episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast that's going to drop Wednesday morning. Wednesday, AEW Dynamite stream, do that. Thursday, no stream, no nothing. Friday, SmackDown, not doing Rampage this week. And then Saturday is a double stream day with King Queen of the Ring in the afternoon at 1 p.m. and Collision on TBS Saturday evening. Do you think it's a mistake to include Darby in the Anarchy match? I feel like he wants to die. I think it's a massive mistake. Let me see what's going on with Woods here.
All right, Mr. Woods, I think you're good to go.
I don't think it's a mistake to include Darby, but I do think it's a mistake for Darby's health. Basically, like the way you put it, I don't know if Darby wants to die, but he's definitely coming close.
So what's the verdict?
He's definitely coming close. Why did that logo show up?
Good. Listen, I just wanted to lend you my support.
Yes, remove that logo.
Very rough stretch.
It's
Just
on the
wanted to
camera
remind you
play.
that there's always more time.
Final
Turn
Testament.
things around.
Would rather have them stick in Daniel Garcia. The dude enjoys wrestling and blood. I love Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia is one of my favorites, like you asked earlier. Daniel Garcia is one of my favorites in AEW. I think he should also be a bigger star. I think they probably should have put the international championship on him over Roderick Strong, and I love Roderick Strong. I've been a Roderick Strong fan since like 2000, early 2000s. So we got Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler versus Damage Control. Roderick is amazing. Roderick's been around since 2000. Roderick's been around since 2000. Think about that. Think about him,
That's how people would say it down here in North Carolina.
Samoa Joe, those two in particular, they've outlasted a lot of their contemporaries that came up with them at the same time. Samoa Joe outlasted Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian. Oh no, Frankie's still active. I forgot Frankie's still active. But Roderick comes from that same vein. Roderick outlasted Chris Hero, you know? Oh, this is okay. This is the Fatal 4-Way. We got Ivy Nile and Maxine Dupree. I like I have a soft spot for Maxine Dupree. She's new. She's trying. She's not. She doesn't come from a wrestling background. Like I said earlier when she was out there, I think it's cool that she makes her own gear. She designs her own gear, and she had like a custom-made skirt on. That's a really underrated skill to have as a pro wrestler, to be able to make your own gear. So we got a fatal 4-way to determine the number one contenders for the women's tag team champions. We have Kaden Carter, Katana Chance. Those are another two names that I said I'd love to see. Feel bad for the whole Devil storyline. Then Adam got injured. MJF is injured. Now the story is dead. I wonder what the goal would have been if they did not get injured. Possibly Adam Cole as champion. Maybe blood and guts. Yeah. Full disclosure, I hated Better Than You Baby. I hate it. I thought it was the dumbest idea ever because of the simple fact that it took shine off of MJF as world champion. And what made MJF world champion was the fact that he was willing to say whatever he wanted, and he was willing to upset people. You know, he didn't care. You know, he didn't care who he upset. When he started doing the Adam Cole stuff, I thought it was just campy. You know, like it made him kind of geeky, you know? And then everybody got hurt. Killed the Devil storyline. What I would have done is the most logical thing. After they had the match with FTR where they lost, one turns on the other. That's it. And then you set up the feud between Cole and MJF. You didn't have it? I really enjoyed it. Hey, if you enjoyed it, more power to you. If you enjoyed it, I'm more glad that you enjoyed it than I hated it. Because wrestling is subjective. You know, like anything I like, you as a wrestling fan might not like. But that goes for anything entertainment. You might think a movie is good that I thought sucked, and that's okay. It's entertainment, you know, and it's subjective. Wrestling is really for everyone, and there's different types of wrestling out there that everyone can enjoy. So, you know, if you enjoyed something that I dislike, I actually think that's better, because I'd rather people focus on what they enjoyed.
Very impressive.
I love a good keg stand. Keg stands bring people to their feet, just like what happened here in Greensboro.
Cover by Kaden Carter and a kick out by.
I said earlier they really should put some stock into Katana Chance and Kaden Carter for basically moves like that. Like I said earlier, Kaden Carter, Katana Chance reminded me of the female rockers. I don't know, anybody that's watching might be like, who are the rockers? You know, I might be dating myself. But they do kind of the same thing, where they're an innovative tag team, innovative moves. They use their size to their advantage. Katana Chance, one of the smallest competitors in all of women's wrestling. And she's able to use her American Ninja Warrior background to do some cool stuff. Do you think Tony Khan needs to do smaller arenas? I think he should, but he won't. I don't like how people post images on social media of the half-empty arenas. It's not a loaded question, but there's a lot to the question. I do think he should do small arenas. I think he should take a page out of TNA's book, where they film in one location, the same arena, They always pack it, whether they pack it with fans or plants, it doesn't matter. It would add to the show to have an active audience. The problem with why he won't do that is a much larger problem than the arena issue. The reason that Tony won't do it is Tony doesn't have the motivation to preserve every dollar, and he doesn't have the motivation to make an extra dollar. Okay? Tony Khan, his father, his family are, I think, within the top 10 or 15 richest people on the planet. He doesn't have the motivation that, oh my God, if I don't make enough ticket sales, this company can go under financially. It's been stated, not by me, but by experts, financial experts that watch wrestling. It's been stated that AEW can lose Tony Khan money for the next 20 years and it wouldn't make a dent in his financial status. He can have a company, listen to this, he can have a company lose money for the next 20 years and it won't do anything to his pockets. So he doesn't have that motivation like, not only is my financial livelihood, but my livelihood as a person is on the line if financially AEW doesn't start filling up these arenas. His ego is a part of it, but that's because he's chronically online. He stays online forever, and he wants to be in the same vein as WCW Eric Bischoff when NWO was at his peak and ECW Paul Heyman. These two people, their ego was so big that they can say anything that they want on TV. Problem is, they can back it up. At the time, Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman could say the craziest shit, but they could back it up by going, hey, our program is pretty good. We all know about the 83 weeks. It's been beaten to death by Eric Bischoff himself. ECW changed wrestling as a whole. And because Tony Khan wants to be that, and he is in that mode, and he's an internet wrestling fan. He's a message board wrestling fan. There are stories of people like, oh my God, the guy I used to chat with in AOL chat rooms is now owner of the second biggest wrestling company in the world, So it's like he's chronically online. I wonder who stays more online, me or him. I do stay online a lot, but I don't tweet like Tony. Honestly, Tony makes me not feel bad about me being chronically online because I am online a lot. I am posting memes. I am plugging episodes. I am trying to make really shitty wrestling jokes on Twitter all day. And a lot of them don't get any traction, but that's cool. I enjoy it. Tony can't help himself. Caden Carter with a beautiful hammerlock flatliner to lay out Maxine. Maxine looks like she's paralyzed. But yeah, Tony Khan, I don't know about recently. Recently, I haven't seen him say anything crazy. As Caden and Kitana hit their finisher, but it's broken up by Dakota Kai. I haven't seen Tony tweet anything crazy. Last crazy thing he said was the WWE's Harvey Weinstein, which was really, really stupid. It doesn't matter what side of the argument of his statement is. Just to make that statement in that setting was really, really dumb. That's his big problem. And not just the arenas and things like that. His problem is that he's not focused on plugging AEW. That whole situation, he's on the NFL Network the night after the big angle with the Elite during the NFL draft. And they're asking him questions about AEW. And Swerve just won the world title, your first Black American champion in company history. That is a big deal. that is something people can look at and go, man, I should give AEW a shot. That seems pretty cool. You know, they're trying to be the alternative. You know, you had a chance to bring in people that haven't watched wrestling since the Attitude Era. And you make a statement like that, and that's all people are going to talk about. You know? So he's got to get better at conducting himself as an owner, and AEW has to look at their marketing team and realize that whoever they pay for marketing is not doing a good job. Doing a good job. Because like I said, the AEW programming, as Maxine Dupree hits her worm elbow drop, the AEW programming has been good for the past month. Ever since they started with this Elite Takeover storyline, program has been very good. Problem is, a lot of the things that AEW has done, as Kairi Sane just hits a massive, insane elbow on Maxine Dupree, problem is the damage to AEW may have already been done. I mean, I'm not a ratings guy. I'm not a guy that's like, oh, look at the rating, da-da-da. I don't care. I'm not a tribalistic fan like that. I love AEW. I love WWE. I love wrestling. However, like I said, if the Elite Takeover is the best storyline you've done in a long time, and it's the hottest angle you have in a month, your ratings should not be the lowest they've been since like 2021. It just doesn't make sense. Oh, we got a nice combo tag move from Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Looks like a pop-up reverse into a knee strike. And they win the match. Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler are the #1 contenders for the Women's Tag Team Championships. So that's pretty cool. I know that's going to make my co-host very happy. She is a massive Shayna Baszler fan, and massive is an understatement, as Dakota Kai has a busted nose. A lot of light blood work on this show. Not on purpose. They didn't give color on purpose. Got Ludwig Kaiser with Caleb Braxton. Let's see what Ludwig has to say.
Gunther's confidence seemed unwavering in his belief that he will be the next king of the ring. But do you think the ring general could be overlooking the threat that is main event Jey Uso?
Overlooking. The ring general proved several times that he's superior to anyone out there. I personally just hope that Jey Uso is going to take the loss better than Sheamus did. Remember Sheamus? The guy who used to love to fight? The guy who used to, let his fists do the talking for him? Last time Sheamus used his fist, he used it to pound down on the keyboard of his computer at home, because it turns out that your legendary Celtic warrior is nothing but a keyboard warrior. So let me tell you the absolute truth about Sheamus here. Sheamus's career is going two ways from here. Either he's going to stay home and he's going to protect his legacy, or he's actually going to dare to come back just for Ludwig Kaiser to put him down. Like old Yella.
Ludwig Kaiser, good talker.
All right, strong words from Ludwig Kaiser. Hello,
and
Drew.
here's Drew McIntyre. I'll get to your question 1 second, Progressive. Don't you worry, I'm not ignoring you at all.
Wondering what I'm doing here too. See, Adam Pearce, in his infinite wisdom, decided not to use one of his biggest superstars on Raw tonight, but he wanted me to be here live after medically disqualifying me against my will to watch Jey Uso in my King of the Ring spot. I'm not giving me any time to speak my mind. Screw that and screw him. The people want Drew McIntyre, and I'm going to give them Drew McIntyre. Let's talk about that paper champion, Damian Priest. He thought he got one over on me last week. Nobody gets one over on me unless I let them. I had nothing left to say. I got what I wanted, my world title rematch.
Yeah, they haven't been doing a good job of building up this match between McIntyre and Priest. The promo last week was good, but
the tag titles, Braun, Carlito, mate, I'm going to give you more free advice. Stop it. Focus on the championship, because we're going to have a match eventually at WrestleMania. I beat a real champion, and soon I'm going to beat you too. As you were.
All right. Thank you, Drew.
All right. So when I look at world champions, I don't look at them based on skin color. I look at them based on how they dress to and in the ring, their costumes, their wrestling abilities, and their promo skills. Is that bad? No, it's not necessarily bad. But what you have to understand is that for some people, they do look at the skin color of the champion because to them, let's say in the case of Swerve Strickland, the very first Black American world champion in AEW history. The point of saying he's the first Black American world champion and why that is a big deal is because there's some 10-year-old kid at a podunk town in wherever in the world, let's say in the United States. Let's say he lives in an area where there are not a lot of other 10-year-old black kids just as himself. So he feels lonely. He feels isolated. He feels like he has nobody to identify with. He goes home. He turns on the TV. He's chilling with a family member that bought the AEW pay-per-view. And they're watching the pay-per-view. They see Swerve Strickland win the world title. And instantly that kid's mind is like, damn, if he could do it as a Black American, when I grow up, I can do it. So that's why representation and things of that matter, that's why it's so important, not only in entertainment all across the board, but especially in wrestling. Because for the longest time, up until very recently, wrestling was always, and I hate to say it this way, but it was always the white man's game. Like it was always, there were no people of color, and if they were always stuck to doing the shucking and jiving dancing gimmick, or they talk with like a certain vernacular and a certain tone. It was always cookie cutter. You're the black person, so we need you to act like a black person. You know what I'm saying? And that was horrible. But nowadays, you have a guy that like Swerve Strickland. You have a champion like Moose. You have champions like Trick Williams. You mean like Kofi, that accent. Exactly. That is a perfect example. Kofi's not even Jamaican. He's not even Jamaican. He's from West Ghana, or not even from West Ghana. Maybe he was born in West Ghana, but he was raised in the New England area. But as far as I know, and I would probably have to do my research, Kofi was the first person in WWE history to be of West Ghanan descent. Why wouldn't you use that? You understand what I'm saying? So wrestling, and you know what? I really can't fault them in a way. Wrestling back then was just ignorant. You know what I'm saying? It was just ignorant. Nowadays, representation is very important, and I think it's a great thing. So I don't know if you agree, Eric, but Shayna and Stark were the only team in that match that felt like they have a real chance to take Bianca and Jade down. Because they, if you think about it, look at Shayna and look at Zoe from a physical standpoint. From a physical standpoint, out of all of those women, who can match up against the strength and power of Bianca and Jade? Like, this is a powerhouse, power-based team. Who can beat them? So that's why I think that works. I thought he was Jamaican. I never heard of him prior to seeing him on WWE, so that's why I thought that when I first heard him. Nope, he's from West Ghana, Africa. Well, like I said, I don't know if he was born in West Ghana, but I know he was raised in the Boston area.
Apologized? Why would you say so? Oh, I see what you're doing.
But again,
you're tugging at his heartstrings.
It may not mean anything to you, and that's fine. In terms of the representation and why you don't see skin color, that's fine. If that's your approach. The reason it is important is because of people that are not necessarily like you, and then that's just an assumption, But again, like on the flip side, if you take a kid. Maybe his dad's in the military, so he moves around a lot, so he can't make a lot of friends, and then one day, he's online and he sees a clip of Swerve Strickland celebrating as the first Black American champion for AEW. You know, maybe he didn't see the pay-per-view, but he saw that clip, so now he's like, oh, I gotta tune into AEW. You know, I want to see Big E come back and win the world title. That will get me emotional. Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. I mean, the guy broke his neck. You know, he could have been paralyzed. It's good to see that he's in great spirits, regardless of him not being an active competitor. I think WWE can make him a commentator. He'd be a fantastic commentator. Of course, I'd love to see him back in the ring, but for me, I'm more happy if he's happy. You know, if he's like, it sucks that I can't wrestle anymore, but my health is more important, I'm on board with that. You know, I never ever want to see somebody get hurt for the sake of my entertainment. But yeah, Big E. But you got to think about it this way too. Kofi got his world championship moment. Big E got his championship moment. When is Woods gonna get his championship moment? Is he happy? I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know the guy, you know, so it's hard to make that assumption. But I'm just going off of what he says. You know, he made that great post, making his personal relationship, you know, public. You know, I think he said something like broken neck, but full heart. You know, because he's finally happy. He's found love. WWE still keeps him in the fold. Like I said, he adds a lot of benefit as an analyst. He could be a great commentator. Again, he's got to be happy that he's alive, you know?
There is no tomorrow. It's the semifinals for the King of the Ring tournament. Main event, Jey Uso versus Ring General Gunther. Last time we met, Uso, I almost had you. We got unfinished business right here, Uso. Tonight, I finished the job. You gonna catch a yeet down, and I'm gonna catch a crown. It's main event time, Moose.
All right. Solid talk from main event Jey Uso. I dig the security grate going up as he walks to the ring. Again, Kevin Dunn was fucking stealing a check from WWE. He was stealing a check for the past 20, 30 years from WWE. This man had no sense of improvement to the WWE product from a production standpoint. Nothing.
I stay drip. Hey, Oos, please hit my music and yeet.
This is great. I love it. All right, everybody, start yeeting. You see Anubis already got the emojis ready. Do you like Punk? I hate the guy. I'm not the biggest Jack Perry fan, but shoving, regardless what he said, hey, I'm old school, so I'm like, sometimes, you know, if God damn, look at all those people yeeting. Sometimes as grown men, you gotta scrap it out. But shoving, I'm a huge fan. The thing is, like, I'll always maintain, all right, Punk, full disclosure, if I was to make a Mount Rushmores of my favorite all-time professional wrestlers, Punk would be on there. I do agree, and there's a video on our YouTube of a clip of us talking about it on the podcast. Thing is, I agree, his conduct and what he did with Jack Perry there, but shoving, I'm a huge fan. It wasn't good. It wasn't professional. He could have handled himself a lot better. My thing is, like, we didn't need to see the footage, man. Like, we didn't need to, we know what happened. It's not like this is a court case and we as fans were the jury. Like, we had to see what happened. We knew what happened. It should have stayed backstage. The footage being used as an angle did not need to happen. You could have easily built the angle up the same exact way with going, hey, we had a backstage issue. and that didn't allow us to prepare and pray for the match against FTR. That took us off our game. And when they go, we had a backstage issue, they can kind of like do the little wink, like, hey, you know what we're talking about, but we're not going to talk about it. You know? So I just felt like that was Tony Khan kind of being petty. You know? When did you last duke it out with someone? It's been a while. It's been a while, but see, I'm not of that nature. You know what I'm saying? I'm someone that can talk. You know, I can come to a common understanding. Punk's not that kind of guy. You know, Punk's just not that kind of guy. You know, and like I said, it's a thing. Was it unprofessional? Yes. Did it need to happen? No. Did it make Punk look bad? Yes. Did he deserve to look bad? Yes. Punk was at fault. Punk was at fault. But AEW, Tony Khan did not help the situation, probably made the situation actively worse by saying, oh, we're going to use that footage for an angle, and, you know, that's, you know, what it is. I just felt like using that footage did more harm than good. And it did, because it went exactly like how I predicted. Tony Khan showed the footage. They're going to get a big number in the rating. They're going to use that big number for the ratings to tout it as AEW Dynamite being a success, but it's not sustainable. The very next week, what happened? The ratings went back to exactly where they were. Where are we at now? The ratings are in the toilet despite AEW fixing their mistake, because they realized that the using the footage probably didn't paint them in the light that they wanted. You know, Tony Khan had the idea that using the footage was going to catapult AEW and they were going to be the next hot thing for at least 6 months. And that didn't happen. The exact opposite happened. So there's a lot of layers to it. I'm like a leech, man. I kind of like drama. I wanted to see the video, sure. It was nothing that exactly. I'm not saying that I didn't want to see the footage. I'm with you. I'm in the exact same boat as you. Fuck it. I'm petty in that sense that I would love to see the footage, but I'm just a fan. You know? At the end of the day, did showing that footage help sell tickets? Right? Did it help sustainability in terms of your viewership to your TV product? I want to see the backstage footage of every show, to be honest. Like maybe put like a security camera in the back, like right after you get into Gorilla, so you can see people really duke it out. Like, why did you punch me that hard in the match? But yeah, it's just like it didn't help AEW. It helped them for 1 week. If anything, if you want to spin it into anything positive, is that it made Jack Perry somewhat interesting, because Jungle Boy was as interesting as a wet paper towel. You know, he was just Jungle Boy. This situation with the scapegoat thing, you know, him linking up with the Elite, obviously the best work he's done. I'm still not convinced. Hey, I'm easier to convince than a lot of other people, especially when it comes to wrestling. A lot of other people are like, it takes them a while to come off that fence. Me, I'm like, I'll take it at face value. Again, in my eyes, the current storyline with the Elite taking over, it's the best storyline they've done in months. Probably the best storyline they've had since Punk was there. It's just, it's a great story. And like, I'm thinking they attack Tony Khan 1 week, the next week they're going to fuck it up. Nah, they attack Kenny Omega, put Kenny Omega out. That was great. I was like, oh my God, how could they do that to Kenny Omega, who's practically got a poisonous stomach? You know, so they attack Kenny Omega. Then they keep adding in more stuff Now we see that the Elite was in collusion because they don't like swerve, so now it's seeping out into different layers of the programming, which is pretty cool because then you could do some Easter egg stuff, so it's a good storyline, it's a good angle. But for some reason, just people are not into it, and it feels like the reason people are not into it is because the damage, the dirt that's already been put on AEW can't get any better, basically. But I totally get why people are still not convinced. He's got a lot of work to do. All right, we see Gunther and Jey Uso tie it up. We got a struggle, collar and elbow.
Yeah, you think to yourself that, Gunther's an old school guy in the ring. So is Jey Uso.
Oh! Is Jack Perry a heel? I don't think he's clicking in as a true heel. I like his character work. I read that AEW thought he's going to be massively booed in Japan, and that's why they gave him security guards. But people chanted, fuck Punk, especially when Jack Perry came out to screw out FTR in a mask at Dynasty. He didn't get booed, he got chanted. That's a very good point. He's still a heel in my eyes because he did shit like this past Wednesday pouring the drink on Tony Schiavone, and it's like why do you gotta be a dick like that? What did Tony Schiavone ever do? But yeah, I think again, it's just like he didn't come out looking like a nerd, basically. He came out looking like a nerd when they were like, oh, you basically got choked out by Punk? Like, why would you show the man getting choked out? That was like the last little bit of nerding that came out of Jack Perry, Jungle Boy. Ever since then, like you said, with the situation at Dynasty that brought him into the Elite, it made him like a real deal. Problem is like wrestling in 2024, it's very, very hard to be a bona fide true heel. That's why guys like Dominic get booed to oblivion, even as they're hurt. They just have that thing that you're just like, I fucking hate that guy, and I want to boo him. It's a lost art in professional wrestling. CM Punk choked the nerd out of him. He should be grateful. Hey, you can definitely look at it like that. Like maybe he did choke the nerd out of him. That's hey. He doesn't feel like Jungle Boy. Even when he started being a heel against Hook, I still felt he was Jungle Boy. As Gunther is just beating down Jey Uso on the outside of the ring, sending him into the steel steps. Gunther's already trashing Jey Uso. What is he going to do into the Prime deal? Oh no, he's missing the Prime deal. Oh, right into the barricade goes Jey Uso.
Gunther sent him into the post. He realized the arm was injured, and now there is a huge target on it.
Oh man, Jey Uso's arm is injured? I can see the Punk promo line now. I put my hands on people and they become relevant. I like that. I like that. I like that. He should have ran with that. He can't run with it now because, again, it's a negative connotation where he's like, oh, they can't fucking stop talking about it. In the beginning, if he would have ran with that, look at that fucking gash from a Gunther chop on Jay's chest. If he would have used that in the beginning, that would have been fire. That would have been lovely. But again, you can't use it now because it just has such a negative tribalistic thing. Do you like Lyra Valkyria? She's pretty solid in the ring, but boring on the mic, in my opinion. Her mic skills can use a little bit of work, but she's young. She's still brand new. You remember when she came to NXT UK was already on its last legs. So like there wasn't a lot of that you can squeeze from there. But they obviously saw that she was solid, just like you said. She's really solid in the ring. She only has the potential to get better. We were talking about it earlier. Jeff in the chat was also talking about it. The fact that Lyra can be put in a position to have matches like that against Io Sky, who's a former world champion. She comes from Stardom, stuff like that. For her to have a great match like that is a very, very true telling sign. Remember, she's a rookie, just got called up 3 weeks ago to the main roster, and she's in the final for the Queen of the Ring tournament. Only the second ever Queen of the Ring tournament. That means the people in charge, her bosses, the people that tell her she's doing a good job or a bad job, they believe in her. She's doing a good job. So, you know, I can't, especially nowadays, you can't really go against WWE's judgment in terms of how they book their people and what they're doing, because as Jay-Z said, you know, numbers don't lie, check the scoreboard. You know, they're making money. They're making a lot of money. That's always a point I try to make too. You got to think about it. WWE, WWF, WWF has been around for 71 years. All right. We all lived through the Attitude Era, That was a big deal. WWE is breaking records and making more money now than what they did then. In all of 71 years that they've been around. That means through Hulkamania, through the Attitude Era, through Ruthless Aggression, through John Cena, through all of that. They're making more money now than all of that. You know? So, who am I, as some dipshit on YouTube, Twitch, wherever, social media, to be like, they don't know what they're doing. You know, like, I could do a better job than them. You know, I can't speak. That it's funny because we actually had a question like that on the pod. It was something like you know, if you were given a job on the WWE creative team, you know, what changes would you implement to the product? And to be honest with you, it's like the things that they're doing now is working better than what it's ever worked before in the company. All I can do as a member of the creative team is sit back and watch and say, all right, I like that idea. A better booker, I can't even call myself a better booker than what's going on in WWE. And I've been known in circles to be a pretty good fantasy booker. If you listen to the podcast, we do a lot of fantasy booking on the podcast. And, you know, it usually comes out to like, holy shit, that would be incredible. So, you know, I pat myself and say, creatively, I can come up with some pretty good ideas. But even knowing that, put me in a creative situation working for WWE, I'm just like, hey, whatever you guys think is a good idea, I can chime in. But ultimately, whatever ideas you guys got cooking now is great. As Gunther is working the arm of Jey Uso, he's already injured the arm enough to incapacitate it. Now he's just trying to dismantle him and rip his arm off, which is pretty cool to see. Yeah, and we were actually talking about that earlier with Triple H. You know, creative plans, they're laid out 3 to 6 months in advance. With Vince McMahon, he would lay out the creative plans and they would change up until the shows went live. It's a different situation. I much prefer the way they're doing things now, where they're telling deep, dramatic stories that take 3, 6 months, 9 months to a year. I like that stuff, you know, because you get the Easter eggs. It's a drama storyline. It's like watching Breaking Bad or The Sopranos, where at the end of the show, you're like, fuck, I can't wait for the next show, you know? And it's been like that for a while. Gunther is going to the top rope. He usually only does so to hit that big splash. Did you not like the Attitude Era? I like the Attitude Era for the moments. I didn't like the Attitude Era from the creative aspect. Because if you watch the Attitude Era, if you watch an Attitude Era from Monday Night Raw, random Monday Night Raw during the Attitude Era, all the matches were like 5 minutes long, and they most likely ended in a run-in DQ situation. Because Vince Russo, as the head creative guy, he believed in something called Crash TV, like Jerry Springer and stuff like that, where people just wanted those crazy, you know, TV 14 moments. They didn't care about wrestling. I was one of the fans that cared about wrestling. Like, I wanted to see good wrestling. Oh, a big Samoan drop from Jey Uso off the second rope. That is, yeah, that is desperation. But yeah, like, I could take the Attitude Era moments, and I love them. But, like, as far as the wrestling,
Samoan drop to give himself some time.
it's just like, what, like, off the top of your head, can you name an Attitude Era match that was a great wrestling match? No surprise run-in. No surprise run-in. No, like a good match. Like a classic, that was a great wrestling match, 5-star, whatever. That's hard to come by during the Attitude Era. Damn, doesn't sound like you were a fan. I wasn't a fan of the Attitude Era. Not like, again, because I enjoyed the wrestling. I watched the Attitude Era because I've been watching wrestling over 30 years of my life. I've seen a lot of wrestling. A lot of people, you know, through their own prerogative, they like to take breaks from wrestling. I never was one to take a break. I watched it all, you know, as Gunther just kills Jay with another chop. But it was just like, I'm more of a, I like the physical part of the wrestling, you know, the actual art of pro wrestling. That's why, if you, like, my Mount Rushmore is like, Eddie Guerrero is my all-time favorite wrestler. You know, Shawn Michaels is number 2. Bryan Danielson is number 3. CM Punk's number 4. As Jay is trying to fight back, and he's giving some fight, that's pretty good. But if you look at all those 4 guys, they're all very similar. Very similar size, very similar height, very similar style of wrestling. And they were the guys that shouldn't have been world champion by Vince McMahon wrestling standards and still figured out a way to be a great world champion. So, you know. Oh! Those chops, man. You would have to pay me at least a couple $100 to take a chop from Gunther. Like, if Gunther was like, yeah, I'm going to chop you as hard as I could, you know, give me a couple $100, I'll take it. World Elite Pod, what's good, bro? What's going on, man? Thank you for stopping by the chat. I really appreciate it. Shout out to World Elite Pod. They're a great podcast. They just put out an episode where they interviewed Bull Buchanan. As we were just talking about the Attitude Era, Bull Buchanan, I guess you could say he had some time in the Attitude Era as a member of the Truth Commission. So, you know, but yeah, I thought it was a great interview that World Elite Pod had with Bull Buchanan. It made him seem very interesting. Like, damn, like they could have actually did something with this guy. But yeah. Shout out to World Elite Pod. Thank you for stopping by the chat. Jey Uso putting the boots to Gunther, but he's only got one arm. He's only got one arm.
Jay still smarting from the injured arm.
You can't eat with one arm. I grew up watching raunchy things, movies, music, wrestling. Society as a whole got soft. I think AEW is superior in that department over WWE. Due to the blood and cursing, WWE feels soft. The Kevin Owens scene from like 2 weeks ago, that's from like Home Depot. It was paint. I mean, that's the thing. Like, WWE is very concerned about their sponsors, their advertisers. Now they're owned by you know, Endeavor, and they have a whole board of directors and stuff like that they have to answer to. I'm sure if they were a privately owned company and Triple H was in charge, Triple H would probably want it to be much more like what you described, you know, because obviously we talk about the Attitude Era. That's where Triple H comes from. But, I mean, if they do that, they're probably no longer a billion-dollar company. And if you're a billion-dollar company, what do you care about being a billion-dollar company, you know? So I can't fault them for that, you know? Like I said, to me, it doesn't hurt the product one bit because the product's on fire. It's been on fire for a couple years. Gunther, big splash off the top. Whoa! Oh, good thing Jey Uso kicked out, because how are you gonna kick out of? How are you not gonna kick out of a man that just did basically your finisher?
It did look like he was a human wearing a squirrel suit.
Oh my God! What a clothesline!
Jey kicks again.
I mean, what is Gunther going to have to do to get Jey Uso's shoulders on the mat for 3 seconds?
This is the best thing about Gunther, and this is something that we talked about. Gunther has the ability to make his opponent look like the biggest test that Gunther's ever faced in his career. He has that crazy ability to elevate his opponent.
Wheels are turning. Gunther, who has so many different ways to put away his opponent. Now begins the mental breakdown of
Oh my God!
trash talk.
Jesus! The magic deck I'm building has 112 cards in it, and I have to figure out which 12 I gotta cut. Cut the ones that make you the most money, as Jey Uso basically doesn't have a chest anymore. Like, that's crazy.
Down here in these North Carolina hills.
He's just caving in the chest of Jey Uso. And Jey Uso just paintbrushes Gunther, and Gunther answers back with multiple chops. He's just killing Jey Uso in the corner. Oh my God. This makes Eddie Kingston's machine gun chops look like glove taps. Oh man. Gunther with the spear, but the ref gets taken out. We got a ref bump. We got a ref bump. Uso splash off the top, hits it, no problem. But the referee got clobbered.
But Jey trying to pull himself to the cover on Gunther here. Cover on Gunther. Hook of the leg. Patton back into position.
Gunther kicks out. Certain wrestlers, what I like about them, reserved isn't the right word, but they don't handle their business on social media. They are professionals. With that said, do you think Malachi Black is unhappy in AEW? To me, it's hard to tell, because one, he's a professional. I don't see him going on social media to air out stuff, as Gunther just destroys more of Jey Uso. He's kind of injury prone, but I feel like he's going to win the title this weekend and then give it up due to injury. That is a heavy question. As I stated earlier, Malachi Black is one of my favorites, and it sucks. Jey Uso, oh, we ring the bell. Jey Uso has gone out. So basically it looked like a Cobra Clutch. Gunther, Tama Tonga, or Randy Orton in the finals for the King of the Ring tournament. All right, so to answer your question about Malachi Black, he is one of the more professional performers, you know, because again, you got to look at it. A lot of performers these days, they're very young, you know, so they grew up in the social media era, you know, so they don't know what it's like to not have social media. But Malachi is a very smart man. He's very well read. He's very intelligent. So he's not going to air out his dirty laundry, like you said. Whether he's unhappy in AEW or not, I can't tell, because when you think he may be unhappy because they're not being used, they put him in something that has a little substance to it. Case in point, what they're doing now with the House of Black and Adam Copeland. I think it's very, very interesting. It's right up my alley with the dark stuff. I think the taking of his wedding ring was a nice little addition to the story. So maybe it has something there. I mean, his wife works for WWE, so of course he probably wants to see more of his wife, you know? So that could be a situation. It's hard to tell until we know his contract is up and what his situation is with that. I'm sure that Triple H would love to have Aleister Black back. You know, Aleister Black was a champion in NXT because Triple H saw that he was worthy of being a champion. He believed in him. But, you know, it's hard to tell. It'll be more telling when we know when is the area of time that Malachi Black is going to be a free agent. Then we will slowly start to understand how he felt about being in AEW. But yeah, his injury, I don't know if he's injured now. He hasn't had a couple injuries, so hopefully that's something that's in the past, and he doesn't have that situation anymore. Is LA Knight unhappy in WWE? I don't see him going on social media. Well, the reason you don't see him going on social media is because WWE has their employees from a corporate level down to anybody who performs in their ring. They don't allow any of that social media stuff that you would probably see in other companies. They don't play that game. Again, this is a $1 billion company focused on staying a $1 billion company. So they've had workshops and meetings about how to conduct yourself on social media as a WWE employee. So that's probably why you don't see a lot of those guys on social media talking about their personal financial issues with WWE, unless it's like something that's going to lead to an angle. Is he unhappy in WWE? I don't know. I've never read any indication that he would be unhappy in WWE. I don't think he is unhappy in WWE. I think he's pretty happy in WWE. Because for some guys, like, being the champion, especially this day and age, is not the end all be all. He's still heavily focused on SmackDown. It looks like they're planting seeds for him to go up against Logan Paul, who is the hottest free agent or hottest young talent that they had, not free agent, young talent that they've ever had, probably the biggest rookie they've ever had since John Cena, So that's going to be another thing that's going to say, hey, LA Knight is in a big position to be going up against Logan Paul after, because I don't see Logan Paul beating Cody Rhodes. I mean, come on, let's be real here. That's not going to happen. So it gives something for LA Knight. Logan Paul's coming off the match with Cody. He's got a lot of buzz about him. If I'm LA Knight, I'm looking at that. I'm looking at my t-shirt sales. I'm looking at my bank statements and going, hey, life is pretty good. I think he's unhappy. He hasn't had any titles in a long time. The title thing this day and age, it's not like it was before. A lot of guys get into wrestling and they get into wrestling for financial status. To them, it's more important to have, an arena filled with 15, 16,000 people either cheering you or booing you. That means more to them than holding a title, because again, unless you're Cody Rhodes, unless you're the John Cena-esque, like I read an interview, a snippet from an interview that Cody did, where he says he doesn't see himself in the same vein as The Rock or John Cena or Stone Cold Steve Austin or any of those big guys, because he says that when those guys step out into the public, when they leave their house, it's a movement. People flock to them. It goes crazy. Cody said he doesn't see himself that way, but I think Cody's just being super humble, because again, you got adults cheering for Cody. You got kids cosplaying as Cody Rhodes. That signals that, like, he's the poster child of WWE. He's the right guy to be the champion. He's going to have a match against Logan Paul Saturday. Logan Paul, for all intent and purposes, is going to lose that match, and it's okay, because Logan Paul can have the performances that Logan Paul does, and they're going to be talking about it for the next 2 weeks. After he loses to Cody, he's going to get into a program with LA Knight. Mind you, all right, this is not a knock on LA Knight, but he is one of the more older members of the WWE roster. So to him, it could be, yeah, he wants to win a championship, but he might look at it and say, like, this is my legacy now. you know, and to the fact that you have all these people chanting the catchphrases, you know, coming with the signs that say LA Knight or they say, yeah, you know, everybody looks forward to his promos. How could you be unhappy and get the reaction that he gets when he walks out on SmackDown? Somebody actually posted a video clip of that on Twitter. They posted his first entrance on SmackDown as LA Knight, and there were crickets. You didn't hear a thing. You didn't hear a boo, a cheer. The only thing you heard was the ring announcer announcing his name. Then they fast forward and they show the reaction he got last week on SmackDown. Not like a year ago when he was hot, or they showed it last week, and it was a roar to where like the announcer had to put a little bit of bass in her voice. So, is he unhappy? I don't know. I don't know the guy. I really can't say yes or no either way. But if I'm using my brain, the guy's making a lot of money. Everywhere he goes, every arena he steps into, he's got, you know, 15 to 16,000 people chanting his name, cheering for him. And, you know, he's a big part of the company, so. But LA Knight beating Logan, assuming he does, that doesn't sound good. Would you really remember that in a year or two? I wouldn't. I mean, in a year or two, no. It all depends on what happens afterward. But if he does so happen to beat Logan whenever they happen to have a match, it would be a big deal for a good while. Because again, Logan Paul has done something in his rookie year in WWE, in his first few years in WWE, that we haven't seen since John Cena. We haven't seen since Kurt Angle, you know, to the point where like everybody hated the idea of Logan Paul in the WWE. And nowadays you can hate Logan Paul in the WWE, but that's because he's a bad guy in the WWE. When it comes to his performances and his wrestling matches, you can't deny that the guy has got it. You know, he was built to be a professional wrestler. And I think Logan knows that, which is why he's like all in on it now. He's invested into it after his appearances because he sees like he basically got bit by the wrestling bug. Basically, that's what happened. Maybe Logan's brother will come for revenge. Well, that all depends on if he can survive Mike Tyson. I don't know. Jake Paul can do okay in WWE because of his athletic ability and his size and his muscle. I don't think he has the charisma that Logan does. Logan passes him on charisma and just natural ability to be a character, to kind of take yourself and dial it up to 11. Funny thing is, like, that phrase, you know, take yourself, dial it up to 11. You hear that with any wrestler. And Logan Paul, before he became a wrestler, take wrestling out of the equation, he was already a person that was dialed up to 11. You know what I'm saying? So it was like he has the edge over his brother, basically. How much you bench? You look like you can wipe the floor with me. I don't bench at all, buddy. I don't know if you know it, but I actually am a disabled individual. I have cerebral palsy. So I don't bench. I don't do any lifting or anything like that. Basically, the reason I have somewhat defined shoulders and things like that is because for basically my entire life, I've been pushing around a wheelchair. So that's the only reason my arms get a workout, and they're as big as they are, which is not very big. I think the camera might have you fooled, but I appreciate it. But yeah, so I didn't know that, but your shoulders look like boulders. Well, hey man, I appreciate the compliment. I'm not going to deny that compliment. I'll take it. Hell, maybe I can get into the WWE, be like the next Zach Gowen or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. But okay, we got something. What's going on here on YouTube? I have like a little, this is the first time I ever did a multi-stream, which is streaming on both Twitch and YouTube. So that was pretty cool. Like I said, the YouTube numbers have been going crazy. So that's why I figured maybe I should do like a restream. So I'm glad I did. And I'm glad I did tonight's stream. I'm glad I got to hang out with you guys. I'm glad I got to meet you, Progressive FB. Don't be afraid to hit that follow button, but there's no pressure. Just to let you guys know what the schedule is. Obviously, tonight we watched Monday Night Raw. Pretty good show. Really excited for the King and Queen of the Ring tournament on the PLE because it seems like they went a different route. They tried to make things a little bit unpredictable. So the PLE, at least from a Raw standpoint, should be very, very good. And we will see that when it happens on Saturday. So basically, again, the schedule. Monday Night Raw tonight was great. Tuesday, tomorrow, no stream, but Shay and I will be recording a new episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast, which you can get on all those platforms underneath, or any platform that you like to listen to podcasts. And for anybody that's new that doesn't know about the podcast, it's strictly a question and answer based podcast. You, the listener, ask us questions about what's going on in wrestling. If you have comments, opinions, rants, whatever, you can go ahead and ask us and we will answer on the podcast. You can leave that information under this tweet, and trust me, we will answer it. Like Jeff said, Jeff's been known to drop like 11 questions an episode, and we answer all of them. Usually we get to like 20 to 25 questions in an episode, so it's always a beefy episode with a lot of opinions, debates, fantasy booking, stuff like that. It's not a tribalistic show. We love all wrestling. It doesn't matter if it's AEW or WWE. We critique everything, but we always make it a point to not be overly negative. And instead of just saying something sucks, we do our best to kind of figure out a way to make things better. Does it get heated? No, that's a good question. It doesn't get heated because me and Shay have this weird thing where since the first time we did an episode, and the first time we did an episode was the first time her and I actually talked to each other, we have a thing where we're very in sync with our thoughts in terms of what we like, what we don't like. We're very in sync, and we've been in sync for a good portion of the show's existence. Next June, we will be celebrating 3 years as a podcast. But it doesn't ever get heated. Shay is like one of my best friends. She's just great and fantastic. And a lot of people go, well, if it doesn't get heated, like, what's the point of listening? It's not like a Stephen A. Smith show or anything like that, where like we're yelling at each other. We're just simply talking about wrestling, talking about what we like. My favorite part of the show is when we fantasy book stuff, because we always come up with like ideas that we're like, whoa, like that would be so cool to see. It's almost every single show. So it doesn't get heated. We don't curse at each other. We don't yell, call each other names or anything like that. Her and I, in terms of what we like and what we don't like in wrestling, are very in sync, very simpatico. But again, it's different from other podcasts because a lot of other podcasts do like recaps of things that we've already seen on the show, and then they give their thoughts. We give the power to you guys, the listener, to format the show. And you basically send in your questions, comments, rants, opinions, anything you want to talk about. As long as it's wrestling related, we will talk about it on the show. So that happens tomorrow night. It's pre-recorded. The episode will drop Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on all platforms that you can listen to podcasts to. If you can't find the podcast on your platform of choice, just hit me up on social media and let me know, and I will make it happen and get you a link. You can find us all across the board through that link there. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. We also have merch. You can check all of that out there through that link. If you use Spotify, the easiest way to find the podcast is there. And so, yeah, Tuesday, no stream. Wednesday, the podcast drops. Wednesday evening, I will be doing a live watch like I did tonight with Raw. I will be doing that for AEW Dynamite on Wednesday. Thursday, no stream, no nothing. Friday, no Rampage, but we will be doing SmackDown a live watch of SmackDown. Saturday, live watch of King and Queen of the Ring, but no live watch of Double or Nothing. But we will be doing King of the Ring. Oh, it's strictly wrestling. You don't venture into other things, movies, games, toys, maybe politics. Not necessarily. It's strictly wrestling. We did one episode to celebrate our 100th episode where we did questions, and it didn't have to pertain to wrestling. It was more, like you said, like movies, music, comics, stuff like that. We don't really talk about politics, 'cause politics is just way too divisive. You know, when you talk about politics, no one from either side of the fence and stuff like that can ever come to common ground and understanding. So we stay away from that. We keep it, for, like I said, the most part, we keep it wrestling based. We're about to record episode 115 of the podcast. If you go back in the feed, episode 100 is split into 2 episodes because we got so many questions for that episode in terms of everything we like outside of wrestling. It was a massive episode that we had to split into 2. So that's back in the feed if you want to check it out. It's episode 100, Ask Us Anything. And we figured we'll probably do that like episode 150 or episode 200 we'll do again, especially nowadays. Yeah, even with wrestling for some reason has become so divisive. If you like WWE, you can't like AEW. If you like AEW, you can't like WWE. I'm like, you can like it all, and you should like it all because we're living in a good time in terms of wrestling and being a wrestling fan. There's so much wrestling out there that you can watch. If you want good stories and characters and drama, you watch WWE. If you want a little bit of that, but the focus is more on wrestling and good wrestling and dramatic wrestling, you watch AEW. If you want something different out of the box, you know, you go to Japan and watch some Joshi wrestling and watch those women beat the shit out of each other, all for the sake of loving professional wrestling. If you want hardcore death match, you can check out GCW, you know, where they're doing hardcore death match stuff on top of all the other wrestling stuff. You know, it's like wrestling just keeps going, you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing about wrestling that I find so interesting, is that I love wrestling with all my heart, and wrestling keeps evolving and keeps changing and keeps adding to it, that the one thing I love can never get stale, you know, because it's always changing. There's always something new to check out. There's always a wrestler you've never heard of that you could do a quick Google search or a quick YouTube search and check out some matches. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really neat. That's why I love wrestling. And that's why I do this stuff here, you know, on Twitch and now on YouTube, because I just like talking about wrestling. And even if it's 2 people here, 3 people here, no people here, I think the best thing I'm good at is talking about wrestling. So why not do that here? But again, Progressive, thank you very much for hanging out in the chat. I super, super appreciate it. Thank you for all of your questions and just adding to the conversation about pro wrestling. That was really, really cool of you. Thank you so much. Again, we're here throughout the week watching WWE and AEW. Do you do raids? That's a good question. I don't do raids at the moment because this is a pretty new account. I believe, like, this is less than 10 streams I've had on this Twitch account. So I haven't really built up a list of people that I like to raid that I trust, because I feel like I would make the mistake of raiding a person and they just say some wild shit. Maybe you could raid Kenny Omega. Is he online right now? Is he online? What's his cleaner's corner or something like that? It's always something weird. You can't just type in Kenny Omega. Yeah, I don't know if he's on right now. He might not be on. And I don't think he's on because I think he's the type, like, he likes to, even though he doesn't work for WWE, he's the type that keeps up with everything that happens in wrestling, no matter what company he works for. Yeah, he's not streaming at the current moment. I mean, Fightful is doing probably a recap of tonight's Raw. So I don't know if you guys want to check out Fightful. You know, they kind of don't. People don't like Fightful for some reason. Yeah, I don't really have anybody yet, but like I said, I'm trying to build up a list, you know, of people that I can network with. And I don't want it to feel like I'm just using them for their streams. I want them to feel like, you know, I'm really into what they're doing. But again, like I said, we've done less than 10 streams on this account. We just started doing Twitch streams. That's why I've been going so heavy. Again, like I said, I'm not pressuring you, but if you hit that follow button, you can know when I'm going live, and we can always have conversations like this, you know, every stream. I don't mind it. I love talking wrestling. Like I said, it's probably the only thing that I'm good at. So if you want to hop on, like I said, I'm always on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, whenever there's wrestling. I'm always on, except for this pay-per-view. I won't be on for this pay-per-view, unfortunately. All right, have a good night, man. I will definitely be back. Well, hey, thank you again, Progressive, for being in the chat, chatting wrestling with me. I super, super appreciate it. You're probably one of, like, you know, Jeff does it every, you know, he hops in the chat, which is awesome, but you're like the person, you were like hammering questions, hammering them in, and I actually like that. So appreciative to you, Progressive. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody that's been checking out the stream tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed Monday Night Raw. Again, I will be back on Wednesday for Dynamite. That's a big show because it's the go-home show to Double or Nothing. So it's the last attempt via Dynamite that AEW can get people excited about the pay-per-view. I'm excited about the pay-per-view regardless. Should be a good show. And obviously we're going to talk about it. So again, my name is Eric Vasquez. I'm from the Ringside Rundown podcast. I thank you guys for checking out the stream. See you next time.